the poorest part. Bright light, city light, I gotta make it, this is where it goes down. I just happen to come up hard. Legal or illegal, baby, I gotta make it.
What's good, family? Welcome to another episode of Power After Hours, your favorite power podcast, a special edition of Power After Hours. You know who I am. I'm Jeff J. On the other side, far right to me, left to y'all, maybe Krissy Bree. And in the middle, we got the man himself, the most requested. Y'all thought Odyssey was the hottest ticket in the town. Yeah, this man is one of the hottest tickets in town. London Brown. What's going on, brother? How you feeling?
Hey man, blessed and highly favored. I think that's what they say. Yeah, I ain't got no complaints, man.
I hear that. That's the best way to be, man. And I'm glad to have you, friend of the pod, returning to the show to kind of bookend it, because we had you on at the end of season 1, and now we're bookending it for the finale, the series finale of the show. So let's get right into it, man. I think the one thing that I had on my mind is, you know, you go through this series, you were on for the entire run, save like an episode or two.
Right.
What was the first thing going through your mind when you wrapped your final scene?
My next gig, employment. I was like, let me just stay. I just wanted to stay working, So that's and maybe maybe I'm approaching that wrong, because we're always we have to constantly remind ourselves to be present when these sort of things happen. But I was just like, man, I didn't. That was really where I was at. I was just like, all right, time to get to the next thing. I didn't even really take any time to bask in what was going on. I was just like, man, this all right, cool. And along that and rest. I was like, man, let me get some rest, because this show is demanding,
Yeah.
especially with this season for Marvin. Season 5 was just emotionally, it was very taxing.
Yeah, you could definitely see that throughout the course of the season. I definitely want to get into a lot with the character, with you itself, and everything in between, because it's the one thing about acting, at least that I've seen from the outside looking in, it's kind of inextricably linked. Where you get at times, especially when you play a character long term. So that can have an effect on you that could bring out the best in you as an actor, but also add more color to the characters that you play. So I think where I want to start is growth. We've seen a lot as viewers, the growth of Marvin over the years. I want to take it from your perspective. What specific growth have you seen within the character from where we saw him season 1, episode 1 to the end?
I think Marvin, his journey was one of those things where he really did slow down to breathe. Like we included that breathing idea, or we included the therapy in season 2 after his situation with Jukebox. And for the comedic relief of that, I decided to just make it a whole thing physically. But by the end, by the time we get to season 5, if people pay attention, we start catching Marvin. Marvin start giving Rock advice. He like, yo, man, you spiraling out of control. You need to slow. Like, yo, I don't think we need to be really doing this. Marvin, at the end of the day, was down for whatever. Shout out to Damien, played by Sharif Johnson. Marvin was down for whatever. He's gonna be there. But at the same time, he was just like, yo, I don't really know if this is worth this. We need to really rethink. Marvin season 1 wasn't really thinking about none of that. Marvin was just going at whatever he needed to do. So I think, to your question, I think some of the growth was just Marvin being able to slow down and process things differently. Even when it came to Jukebox, I think Marvin, by the time we get around, I think to season 3 or 4, Marvin starts to really like, yo, I don't know if it's too late for what I'm trying to do. Like Jukebox, you look like you kind of going left. I don't want you part of this lifestyle. But I think by the time Marvin's trying to give her advice on, or trying to guide her in another direction, I'm sure there's a part of Marvin that was just like, man, did I wake up too late? Because now, yes, Juke, you got my back, and that's lovely. I'm glad we bonded. But this other thing you got going on, it's the same thing with Rock and everybody. Even with Kanan, Marvin was still like, listen, man, whatever you think you're trying to do, you're not gonna be able to you're not gonna be able to escape what you're trying to whatever it is you're trying to deal with. Even to that moment, Marvin is still giving some game. So I think Marvin just realized he started to really slow down and process towards those last days, if you will.
I love that you're bringing up all of the various, characters and the way that you were able to, bring that emotion to Uncle Marvin and why we resonated so much with him. And so I've been saying that as I've been watching this final season, that Raising Kanan has become, my favorite series in the Power universe, just because I've never had a Power series bring out so much emotion from me. I mean,
Yeah.
underneath, all the crime, everything we expect from Power, the whole, universe. To me, this was a story about family, parents and children, brothers and sisters,
Yeah.
love, resentment, trauma, all the things. So now that you can look back at the whole series, what do you think it was about these characters and these relationships that made Raising Kanan connect with people on such an emotional level?
Great storytelling. Shout out to
Mm.
Sasha Penn. And the I gotta give it a shout out to Sasha Penn. Shout out to Miss Courtney Kemp, Mark Canton, shout out to 50 and all the writers. Great storytelling. Sasha, that boy bad, man. That's a bad white boy right there. I had to give it
Absolutely.
up. I mean, because like that's why that's the thing that I think the suits, if you want to call it that, I think the
Mhm.
suits don't really understand. Like right now, this is what I feel like. I think that Raising Kane is not getting the honorable looks, if you will, because of how people feel about certain people being the
Uh-huh.
face of the project. Let me put it that way. I gotta say this. I try to be.
Yeah.
I know my publicist be losing her mind. Um,
We understand what you're saying, though.
because sometimes I'm too honest. But I think that if the face of this project was different,
Mm.
I think we get a different look. If this, like, if it was on a, because look, the storytelling alone, the storytelling. I'm not saying it because I'm in it,
Mhm.
but the storytelling is so dope
Yes.
that you almost there's a part of you that it stopped becoming what people think the show is about, which is if you don't know, you think that it's just about the street life and the
Hmm.
nefarious things of the street life. But Razor Canyon goes way beyond that. It's way more. If this story was, let's just say, if for the people who don't understand this show, if they thought that the show was just a show about the street life, this show would have been canceled 3 episodes in. It's way
You're right.
more than that. It's about relationships. It's about growth. It's about how burn relationships don't work and how doing people wrong don't work and how chickens come home to roost. It's a lot of different. It's a substratum of things that people really connect to in a real way. And shout out to the cast because if these guys, if they didn't have the chops, it wouldn't matter what the storyline was either. We'd be like, oh man, we don't believe none of this stuff they're saying. But there's something that's compelling between the writing and the performance that ties together that pulls the audience right in. So where they like, yo, you're like, what? Because otherwise, why do people care? Why
So
do
true.
people? What's? There's no need to cry. There's no need to be upset. There's no need to laugh. Let me give you an example. When you watch
Mhm.
Martin, right? I'm assuming that you guys have watched Martin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So when you watch Martin, why do you think this is a rhetorical question, but why is it that we're able to watch Martin? We've all seen it. We've seen all the episodes times 100. But what is it about Martin that makes us still laugh every time we
Mhm.
watch it? It's because the genius of Martin Lawrence and all of them, they got so many moments. We can watch it to this day and find something new to laugh about because it was so many. We couldn't even catch them for the first 10 years. We didn't catch
So
them the
true.
first time. But when you put on Martin right now after this live, we can go back, we can laugh at the old stuff, and we say, oh, shoot, we can laugh at something new.
Yeah.
Same thing with Raising Kanan, which is when you go back and you watch Raising Kanan, there's these small nuances. You be like,
Mhm.
oh, man. That connects to that. First of all, the writing. The writers are so good. They was planting seeds in season 1 for things that revealed itself in season 5.
Yep.
I'm
Facts.
like, who came up with all of that stuff, man? So I think, all of this is to say that good storytelling is important, man. I think, and honestly, I feel like a lot of people are just tired of the reality. No disrespect to the reality TV stars is doing their thing, but I think people just felt like, man, let's just watch some good TV. Let's just watch
Yes.
some good storytelling, and not, just something that connects to us emotionally. That's why. But anyway, don't mind me. I get excited about this stuff.
Oh nah, I love that, and I know. Shout out to the publicist. You don't gotta answer. You can nod or do whatever. What I'm about to say, because you sounded like you was reading from my script. Because part of great storytelling is that it has to be advocated for.
Yeah.
Right. So I've been saying for years, for some of the seasons that I've watched for the entire Power universe, because we've been here since day 1.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the fact that the Emmy nods don't come down, all those different TV series, I'm like, man, I wonder what would happen if a certain 3-letter network was airing the show and not the 5-letter network.
Yep.
But back in my day, you used to get packages for the people who aren't up, and it was to be a whole, like, you remember like the diorama in school and with the oak tag and all of that. You have a whole mini activation come to your house, and then you get introduced to the show, even if you're not watching. And that's how you advocate. That's how you publicize for it. So I do feel like I feel you on what you say about certain phases of it, but I also think you have to have the supports of the networks that you're on. So the OG Power series is about to be on Netflix now. So I think you're going to see a cascade of new fans come in, watch the show for that OG series, and then eventually make their way to the prequel. And that's where you're one day you're going to be on your phone and you're going to be like, damn, they just saw this. They just saw that. It's going to be blowing up because that's the replay value. So I think that's one of the biggest disappointments with the Power universe is that y'all as a whole, especially this spinoff, didn't get recognized as much and should be recognized, especially for the individual performances. And we're not saying that just because you here, you could go watch any episodes. We've been consistent with it. So
I appreciate it, man. And I totally agree. I parried that same idea. I felt the same way. I was like, man, if this was a different network, man,
bruh,
we would sweat. But anyway,
you've been on shows on different networks, so you know what that is. You know how they can promote.
You better be quiet. Be quiet.
Okay. My bad.
All I'm saying is, I remember when I first saw your casting, and I was like, yes, because Ballers used to be the chaser before Insecure. Right? Like it was like I remember it was that whole block where it was Ballers, then Insecure, then Survivor's Remorse. And that was like
another one was in there was another one was in there with Game of Thrones. Yeah. It was right. It was a whole thing.
It was like between the two networks. It was ill how it used to play out on Sundays. That was back when the last vestiges of appointment TV. When it was going on. Because I remember like Ballers, like you used to see, because your characters are actually kind of similar in their playful nature between Marvin, your characters that you played, the characters you play in Ballers. So it's ill. Like when I saw you, it's funny how wardrobe can change your whole demeanor and outlook to where you wearing the 90s gear and you fashion down. We always talk about how with Power, it's always high-end fashion. So to see y'all rocking it from the 90s point of view was just a cool blast from the past. But we see those transformations. And speaking of that, your character, well, first off, I got to say it. One of the best observations I saw about this season was that Marvin stopped snacking as much. We know that London gonna snack, but Marvin, that's how I knew the series was, the season was serious for him, is that when he tried to eat, people want to talk his head off. He can't even get a meal in, so the snacks stop, and I think that to me also connected to this idea of acceptance. I felt like as the episodes went on and Marvin just started going through more and just awakening, he just felt more unburdened with everything that was going on in his life. What do you think led to that ultimate freedom that he had to just let go of everything he's been holding on to?
I think, well, I think that some of the fans caught that, but that was just, again, that was just another choice when it came. Let me just a snack. That was just another choice of just. I remember going to the creator, and I was telling him, I said, man, I'm not gonna have Marvin snack this season. He's like, yeah, I agree. And I just wanted to create a different tone, without saying Marvin's in a different space. It's just through subtle choices like that. And so Marvin eats within the show for dinner and however they script it, but he's not snacking at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was a different energy this season. It was a lot more business that Marvin had to address and get to. And I think that with arcing the character, the writers, it was nice that they were able to trust me to do that, because season 5 of Marvin is not the same. uh each season there's a different kind of version of Marvin. Like season 2, Marvin wasn't really using no guns. He was going through therapy. That's a different, just different notes. But looking from season 1 to season 5, we see a side of Marvin that has changed. And I think Marvin just started to put it all in perspective and understanding, like, at some point, these seeds that he's planted, they got to sprout at some point. And so that's why I think he started trying to get things in order towards the end. He didn't know when it was gonna go, but he's like, man, let me send my daughter with a little bread. Let me try to get whatever game and try to get. He knew something was going on. He didn't know what was going on. So Marvin was um at least aware of what was going on. He didn't know the timing of it. And I think that's with anybody. That's with any real OG. At some point, any real OG who's gonna make some changes, he got to sit down with himself and say, man, okay, what's going on? I gotta,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not seeing the results I once was seeing, or this quick life is catching up with me. You can't outrun it so much now. And I think as life started to catch up with him, I think that caused him to say, okay, I'm not as fast as I used to be in this game. Let me just slow down. And I think we see that within season 5, and to the point where, again, Marvin, he knew he wasn't gonna be able to escape it, but that's why he was trying to get his daughter to get out. Like, listen, man, this ain't for you.
Mhm.
Why? How about you go? I know you got my back. That's cool and all,
Mm-hmm.
but the vestiges. I felt like Marvin felt like the vestiges of his past were approaching, and he was steadily trying to rid himself of those things. But with anything that, karma, anything else, what goes around comes around. So I know he felt like it was coming back to him. But thank y'all for keeping it with the show, doggone it. Y'all pretty good.
Hey, we don't play about this show. We keep it real around here. And spoiler alert,
Mm,
y'all didn't know, Uncle Marvin doesn't make it at the end of this season. So I think
yeah,
what made his death even more painful for us is that he dies after we finally watched him become a better father, brother, and
yeah,
overall man. And so do
yeah.
you think there is an intentional tragedy in the fact that Marvin finally figured some things out about himself, but he didn't get enough time to live as that version of himself?
Yeah, I think that's always the sad part about people, even in real life, where, yes, okay, let's take Chadwick, peace be
Mm.
upon him.
Mm,
It's one of those things where we just like, man, he was just, I don't want to say just popping, but he was on a roll. Like all the movies,
yeah,
like Black Panthers, 42, and everything. We was like, man, we was ready to see him become the
Top of the
next
world.
the next
yeah,
one, that guy. So when he transitioned, we was just like, dang. It's one of those things where I think a lot of times we hope that people start to see the light. And so the audience has been rocking with Marvin through so many of his failures, to the point where by the time he started making sense of things, I felt like the audience was on board. It was like, cool, Marvin. Okay, this the potential we wanted to see Marvin um, live to. And right when he was putting it all together to have him taken,
yeah.
we was like, oh man. We was like, because I think everyone saw the potential. But that's why with characters it's important for us to layer them. Nobody wants to see a villain just be a villain. There has to be something about them redeemable, or some sort of layers to them. If you know, at least what I'm playing, I want people to care for Marvin beyond his mistakes. That's why when you look at, I like to use this as an example. When you look at Training Day, there's a scene after Denzel's character shoots the guy in the house. And then he's in the car. Denzel character was in the car with Hoyt, and they got the money. So Denzel's like, listen, telling Hoyt, look, take the money, barbecue it. I don't care what you do. You're not making the guys feel like you're part of the team. And whatever he's going. But there's something about this is you know, this is chess. This ain't checkers. There's something about where he delivers those lines from, where we kind of sit back. We know Denzel's the villain. We know
Yeah.
this, but there's something about how he delivers the lines. We're like, man, Hoy, take the money, man. Just go, come on, man, take the money.
That's
But
real.
there's those layers, and how he delivers that, we feel something. And I think that's important. When I think it's important as actors when we play these characters that we're not just playing one note. We got to play these characters and give them some three-dimensional things, because none of us are always good, or none of us are always
Mhm.
bad or always upset. We got different parts of us. Like, we could be in this good mood right here. You get a text message from somebody, all of a sudden you like, there's that moment. And or we'll be in a very bad mood. And I remember back in the day when I was younger, when I would be upset about something, there were times where I would just put on Martin, and that was therapy. I just said, let me just get out my funk, put on Martin, put on Three's Company, and those things just kind of put me in a different place.
Yeah.
So anyway, when it comes to these characters, I think it's important to have those layers, so that when it's time for the character to make a turnaround, we feel something, we care, and if we want to follow them, I mean, that's what I'm going for. I don't want to speak for actors, but that's what I'm going for. I want the character, I want people to feel something, and so that again, when it's time for that turnaround, the audience can, whatever audience felt like they didn't like him, or he was Marvin was irresponsible, they turn around and be like, you know what? I do want to see go. I want to see bro get out the hood a little bit. I want to see him. We care, but that's important to me. To me.
Yeah.
For sure. You speak about that connection that you make with the audience. And I can tell you, I don't know if you feel it, but that's probably where I want to go next with it. You took a character that was relatively obscure, where we didn't know who the Thomases were. Like back when we was watching OG Power, it was like, who
Right.
raised this guy? How did he get to be so ruthless? And then when we get Raising Kanan, we're like, oh yeah, this was y'all fault. We need to
Yeah.
figure out who each
Right.
one of y'all had a hand in making this demon that was terrorizing Queens for decades. Who are these Thomases? And you took the character of Marvin Thomas from unknown to one of the fan favorites in the entire Power universe. Was there a moment where you felt that love, where you realized, oh, yeah, they really love this character. They really love what I'm doing with it?
I felt that. I kind of felt maybe season 3. It
Mhm.
was always loving. It was always loving the streets. Here's a story. I remember. So during season 1, I was living in Harlem, and if those from New York, I was staying a block away from the Stinking Link. I was on the other side of the projects, right? To
Mhm.
me, I'm from LA, but Harlem is just like, if you're from LA, Harlem is like a large um Lamert Park, right? It's like shea butter, it's incense, it's soul
Yeah,
food, it's all the
yeah.
stuff, right?
Yep.
Locks and everything else. So anyway, I remember one day, um, I was always passing up the corner boys, walking back and forth. But then the show came out, and then I remember one time, one of the guys, they was like, "Hey, oh, that's old boy from the show," and I just gave him a little quick nod or whatnot. And I remember they said, he said, "Man, you good on the show, man? Now you get a pass." And I'm like, "How long? How long have these Negroes been thinking to rob me?" Right? But but the love was there, and so as far as to your question, I think I felt the energy. It was always kind of there, but especially after season 3, once Marvin did that mailman scene where he
Oh
took out the
yeah.
Italians, that's when I felt at least the goons of the streets, the street guys was like, I could tell they respected Marvin, because a lot of them saw themselves as Marvin. And I can't tell you how many times I've been stopped. and how many times people I've been stopped and people has sworn to me that they stole that Stars of 50 had stole their store. Hey, listen, man, that was me, right? I had done time right up in Rikers. And I came, I had a little daughter too. I got a big girl. They took my story, man. They took my story. I need to pay me. People go, people got their stories. But for people to feel that, for people to connect with Marvin, real street dudes, real people out of prison and everything, for them to feel something, that's what it's about. It's about not playing some caricature, not playing again a spin-off uncle of some sort, but how as actors, how do we ground these characters to something honest and something true? I don't have any kids, right?
Mhm.
So I don't know what it's like to have a daughter, or I may not have lost uh, uh, gone through different some of the scenarios that Marvin was in, but I understand pain, so I gotta live in that truth, And I'm not thinking about, you know, even my acting approach. Some actors, their approach is to think about what has happened and pull from that. For me, it wasn't. I didn't even have to do that. The scenario, it was written so well. Emotionally, all I need to do is just lock in and really just listen to what's being said and follow the story, and that was enough.
Mm.
Now, granted, most of the audience don't know I did lose a brother, who was gunned down in 2015. So again, Marvin, Marvin and London are not that far apart. Like emotionally, I know this guy. I grew up around. When I was younger, I used to cut hair at rehab centers. So I used to. I've grown up around street people. You know what I mean, and people in and out of jail. My mother used to let people stay with us when I was younger.
Mhm.
So I'm being around people in real ones was. I always hung out with the OGs, so I know Marvin very well. So when we're able to bring these characters, bring them to life, it don't matter if it was a spinoff or its own show. When you got actors who are serious about the work and that's going to ground it to something honest, and the writing, if they're going to ground it to something truthful, then that's why I think, and not because I'm on it, but
Mhm.
Raising Kanan low key can stand on its own. It's the truth, and so, but I'm glad we're part of the Power Universe, no doubt about it. But if let's just say if 50 put out Raising Canaan, as we said, put it some other network, and under 50 Cent he put it out under 20 under 2 dimes, and that was he put it on and put it under that. The show would have done. Don't get me wrong. We got some incredible people that backed the show. The executive producers, like I said, all of them, they did their thing to make it do what it do. But I'm just saying, as a story, people, you don't even have to understand the street life or have watched the other, really understood the other powers to just say, okay, I just want to follow these guys. Let me learn what the Thomas family is about. And hopefully, like I said, it was enough so when you get to the end of watching the whole series, whether you've seen it before or not, when you follow Rock's journey, by the time she get by the time she's in front of the Coliseum uh talking to Canaan, and we see that tear drop, and she just
Oh.
like, and they just have a heart to heart. Did we not get chills? We was like, ooh, look how she just confessional and just say, listen, I got it wrong sometimes, and he's saying, listen, I know I was crazy, but I learned from you, but I got it wrong. That's, man, come on. That's just good storytelling where you feel
Yes.
something. Or you
Yeah.
feel something about the family that don't even exist, but you feel something. So anyway, I get all excited about this stuff, man.
I'm glad you do. That makes for a good guess. We don't want you just
Absolutely.
chilling, you know what I'm saying, and be a mute. So I'm glad that you are excited. That's how we like our guests here. We like you to get excited. Now, it's interesting you said, real quick, I want to follow up about, Marvins in your life, and they have
Yeah.
that effect on you. What aspects of London did you bring to Marvin?
The humor, anything that was charming or humorous about Marvin, that's just London showing up. I was like, London had a good time shooting. So
Mhm.
like I said, people, I remember a couple years ago they gave the fans gave it was an award by the fans, and they gave Marvin like most funniest character throughout the the universe.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Marvin is not. There's Marvin by no means is trying to be funny. He's not the comic relief. I personally thought for Raising Kanan, um, his name is Antonio, the one who played Famous. Famous
Yeah.
to me
Yeah.
was funny and just all whatever the Puerto Rican energy is, and just
Yeah.
lively and just the thing. He's the comic relief. Marvin was not trying to be funny. When Marvin say what he say, he really just he just saying he just saying it. So, but the comedic side of Marvin is just London just sprinkling, just dashing a little humor in there to again just creating layers. You know what I mean? It's like I could have played it straight, but that's not interesting. It's not interesting for me. It's not
Mm-hmm.
interesting for the audience. So even in serious moments, the audience still feels the lightness of Marvin. He's not so heavy, even though he may be heavy burdened with whatever it was in season 5 with all the losses and everything. There's still a side of him that you 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 want to have Marvin's back. You care. So look, when you see Marvin, if he's angry, if he's being if he says something funny, or if he's crying, there's nothing about Marvin that feels disjointed. Meaning, if he's crying, you don't look at Marvin and say, "Oh man, he look weak for that." Or if
Yeah.
you look at if he makes you laugh, you don't look at him and say, "Oh, he's corny." Or if he's shooting a gun, nothing looks out of place because Marvin is all of those things, long as they're grounded. So when Marvin cries, it's a part of you. You know, I was getting voice notes, and people were sending and sending them in to me after the episode. I remember one of my
Mm-hmm.
guys, shout out to Big Mike out of Chicago. So I do stand up and I tour and everything. So Big Mike is promoting in Chicago. He was telling me, he said, man, I had the GDs and the vice lords. We was all in the building, and man, these dudes were crying and they couldn't understand. I said, I understand that. I know what that
Yeah.
is because real recognize real. So you feel something for so as far as when I run into people, I understand I understand that they come up to me like they know me. And they should feel that way. I get that because when they meet me, they say, "Oh man, you just like." I understand when they say I'm just like Marvin. They don't mean I'm like Marvin, but I understand that they feel the energy that they were experiencing from
Yeah.
TV. They get that in person. So I know that when they come up and they want to hug or take a picture, or sometimes I'll initiate the picture because I know people get weird. I'm like, I'm not that kind of guy. Just want to take the photo. Let's do it. It's cool. Sometimes I'm out. You know, try to go out of my way to make sure people feel, they experience that because I've had that experience. Shout out to Robert Glasper. When I first, if for those watching who don't know, Robert Glasper, Google him, he's an incredible musician.
Mm-hmm.
So when I first met Robert Glasper some years ago, and I had a chance to meet him backstage, he made me feel seen and heard. He in the middle of a concert, but when we had our talk, I understood what that felt like to meet somebody, you whose work you admire or you appreciate, and they allow you to feel seen and heard. So I try to give that same thing to people when I meet them because I understand what that feels like. Because you watch Marvin, you do feel like you know him. You've
Yes.
been growing with Marvin for the past 5 years, so I get that. So I'm glad people feel that way. And once they usually when they meet me, I'm the same way. So that's London showing up throughout all the seasons.
Love that.
I love that you're talking about emotion because I'm not gonna hold you. The past two episodes, like they had me in my feelings. I was
Yeah,
on this podcast crying boohoo tears to the point where the relationship that you had with Juke and the way you fought for her, the fact that you don't have kids is amazing to me because what you were able to do for me as a daughter who has been fighting to have a relationship with their father
yeah.
and wanting my father to fight for me the way that you fought for Juke. And so when I tell you I was in tears on this podcast, just thinking about the way you were able to, I mean, I hopped on a plane this weekend to go see my father for the first time because
Wow,
of these last two episodes.
that's
It's,
amazing.
yeah, man, like you really did bring that out through your character as Marvin and just seeing how well you've evolved from season one, when you were choking her up for her decisions to now being able to leave money behind for her because you want better for her,
Yeah.
right? And so when did you realize while you were playing the character that the story could resonate, this deeply with people who have complicated relationships with their own parents? Because that's where I am with it.
When when Marvin started going to therapy, because that was my big thing with the domestic stuff with Jukebox in season one. I remember going to Sasha like, yo, how are we gonna get Marvin out of this?
Mm.
Because first of all, I had to find out if they was romanticizing that whole issue with between Marvin and Juke, if that was just for drama or if that was real. So I spoke to some people I know in that community, and they told me, even on set, they said, man, that's a real thing. Like sometimes the dads, and also we gotta think this is the '90s. It
Right.
wasn't liberated
Yeah.
then. This was Marvin didn't even know what she was called and none. This is a real thing. So by the time, I'm glad that the writers decided, we're going to uh have Marvin go to anger management and that sort of thing. And I think it was good for the audience to see that sort of arcing going on, because it's like, yo, because it wasn't like Marvin had that fight with his daughter and then he went out to go have a drink at the bar. Marvin was destroyed by that. That
Yes.
he didn't that came out of a place he didn't want that to come out like that and do that. And so it was important to show that some work had to be put into his emotions so he can to try to do, in his version, do some sort of repairing of the relationship between he and his daughter. Because sometimes sometimes we don't get a chance to repair those relationships. Sometimes the parent might pass away and stuff like that, and you never get a chance to get it right. So the fact that Marvin was able to at least get to a point. One of my favorite scenes is when there's a scene this season. I mean, I think episode 3, when Jukebox tells her dad that she wants to be with him. She said, "Dad, I want to be with you because I love you." We like, oh man,
Yeah.
it's like, for most parents, especially if they had like a issue with the kid growing up. Little things like that. Just simply even the first time when she called him dad, when Marvin was beefing with the moms, and Marvin's gonna react out of emotions, and Jukebox was in the car, and she calls out, "Hey, dad!" and she jumps in the middle of the debate. Just just her calling him dad. We talking
Yes.
about, because mind you, Marvin lost his father to suicide.
Mm.
They revealed, I think, in season 4. So Marvin, there's a lot of unhealed things that Marvin got to deal with, and I think
Mhm.
that the fact that that part of the story, I'm glad the writers were able to do that and just show, man, there's a little redemption somewhere in there of, and again, it's not the perfect one, but for their relationship, Marvin at least saying, man, I listen, and he says that I know I'm messed, I ain't nothing, I'm messed up, but hey, I'm gonna work, I'm gonna at least work on this. Sometimes what's wild is my boy, shout out to Delay, or it's Delay on Instagram, very funny
Oh yeah.
comedian.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Delay, he got this story he tells, man, on his Instagram. He's doing a podcast, and I commend him every time I watch it and catch it. It's so heartfelt, but he talks about the same thing, which was him not having that solid relationship with his dad, and how with all the success, he's very funny, sells out, tours, everything, but there's still what we call the pain body. There's still that inner child that longs for that connection with the parent. Even though you're an adult, you got bills, you got your own
Yes.
kids, and you're doing well, there's still a void there that he was feeling, and he needed to try to rectify that with his dad. So the fact that we able to put that in the story somewhere and not just leave that open ended, like those kind of things have nothing to do with the street life. That's just a
Mm.
good father and daughter bonding,
Yes.
storyline within Raising Kanan. And I'm glad that they wrote it like that, so that situations like yourself, like everyone's people, we never know what people are going to leave with our performance. I don't know what people are paying attention to, but even that is touches me, because like, yo, I'm glad that whatever you experienced in this, watching this, they may say, you know what, man, let me just, I don't know, let
Yeah.
me try, at least
Yeah.
try, or at least something about whatever gangster that was watching this, to say, man, you know what, man, yeah, maybe I should, even Marvin was not some guy snatching persons from old ladies. He's not that. Marvin gets caught up he's responding to a lot of stuff, but he's not a mean guy. Even when Rock wanted him to get rid of Sam the crackhead, shout out to Tyson.
Hmm.
She
Yeah.
wanted him out of here. He said, "Hey, listen, man, take this money. Just get out of here, dude."
Yep.
There's a part of Marvin that understands people, just like London understands people. And that's why Marvin is not, always, just trying to be at people to be at people. He'll stand on business, but there's a part of Marvin that said, "Hey, listen, man, my sister wants, people want you to leave, want you to be done with, take this money, go get your life together. I know because I've been there." Marvin says, what I was saying. But Marvin had his own addictions that he was dealing with. That's why Rock took over.
That's
So
true.
There's a lot of empathy. And I think it was important for me to show a lot of empathy with portraying Marvin because London has a lot of empathy. I
Hmm.
understand people. So anyway, I'm glad that you were able to even feel something that connected to home, even though this was just, in this TV world. I'm glad it resonated.
Yeah, man, I'm thankful to you and your character for sure, because you definitely were able to evoke that emotion out of me. And, just because we've been here from the beginning and we've watched and we know what Jukebox eventually becomes in the,
Right.
OG power, do you believe that losing Marvin was necessary for her to get to be that person that we know was so just evil, right? Like, so if Marvin lives, do we ever really get that version of
Right.
Jukebox?
That's a great point. I don't think we do in Marvin Lives. I think because I think there's a part I was thinking about that. I said, well, what would have happened if the story was different? I said, well, if Marvin and Jukebox had rolled off into the sunset like Neek, what would have become of that? I think there would have been a different lifestyle because Marvin was getting older too, and repairing the relationship with the daughter. I think that could have been a beautiful story of
Yeah,
just him being because when Marvin first was working on his relationship with his daughter. First, obviously, it was rocky, but then he went to therapy. Then became super dad, and he was annoying. And I think as he was growing with her, he started to find himself balancing out a little bit more. So I think that we wouldn't have gotten the same Jukebox. I think Marvin would have been a lot more of Marvin's influence to say, "Hey, Juke, let's not, you know, let's go more in another direction." I think she would have been definitely a different person. And I think right when he was about to really try to work on wrangling her back in, it was just the time was off,
yeah.
and she was already drifting over there anyway. But I think if there was with a little more time, I think she would have been something totally different.
Yeah.
For sure, man. I definitely feel that, and it's ill to see for all the negativity. Because to your point, this is a story about family and interfamily dynamics, and the crime is kind of secondary to it, but the
Yeah,
crime happens, right? So
right.
I think it's ill that someone like Marvin can receive a redemption arc after what happened with Juke in season 1 and get it to the point where I don't know if you felt like after season 1 and season 2, people coming up to you and mentioning like, wow, that scene was powerful. And like, I'm not feeling your character, but to go from that to being the dad that he became, I just thought it was a phenomenal transformation. Like after that scene, if you told me Marvin gets some type of redemption arc, I would have definitely bet against it. But to see him be able to come out on the other side, I thought that's a testament to you, the writing, and the character itself.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. That was you know that's something I'm always trying to do with these characters anyway. Is they gotta grow somewhere. They got something. It's not even if I'm not in the whole season of a project or whatever it is. Somewhere, how do they transform? Because also too, London is a different person after from when we first started shooting to
Mm.
by the time we get to the end. You know, then also after losing my brother, that changed my whole. That just changed my outlook on time. When
Yeah.
you lose somebody that you grew up with, like in your house or something, God forbid. But when you lose somebody you share the bathroom with or cups with, and they just leave, especially if it's untimely, or at least according to us, the way you look at time changes. I remember going being at my brother's funeral, and I was trying to figure out. I'm just processing everybody that's showing up. Is very crowded, standing room only type of situation, and all the nice things that people had to say about him. But what happens is naturally you start to think about how you remember. I'm like, man, what do people gonna say about me? And not that we sit there and try to think about that, but naturally you know, it becomes a part of the process. And so for me, I was like, man, well, how are people gonna remember me? And what are they gonna say? What am I doing to help make people better? Or how am I impacting them in what way? And so in addition to that, losing my brother made me very empathetic. So I
Mm.
care a lot more. So when it comes to like Marvin and arcing him like that, I thought it was important that people feel something. We should care. So when I've watched some episodes from the season, I'm not looking at London, you know, play Marvin. That's why it's always funny to me when actors say, you know, they can't look at themselves. And you know, I can't look at myself because if you looking at yourself, if you looking at your performance and you see you, how far did you go? You know what I mean? How far did you
Mm.
escape? Because I'm not looking at Marvin and looking at London. I'm looking at a cool brother from Southside Jamaica, Queens, with a flat top, in the same way that I would keep my cut. So anyway, when I look at Marvin, emotionally, I do feel something. You know, I'm like, man, I understand what he was trying to do. He was trying to help his daughter understand when he lost his brother, or the different things that Marvin is going through. I understand where he's coming from. And so for me, when they decided to arc the character in this way, I was like, man, let's do this. I'm so glad that the writers were able to trust me, because sometimes, you know, sometimes the writers might be so focused on the star of the show that sometimes the other characters suffer. I've seen that happen I've been on projects like that where they're so focused on the star. I'm like, but these other storylines should be told a little bit more. But you know, it ain't my place to say that. But with this one, I'm glad that they really shared the light, you know, and let other stories unfold in a way to where you felt something when Lou. They started out the season with under 2 minutes. We was
Ah.
like, now I'm on the show and I didn't know that was happening. So
Oh.
when Lou died, we was like, oh man. Shout out to Malcolm Mays. What about Scrap? Shout out to Scrap. Scrap was on there and he passed. His character was killed off in season 2. But I remember feeling like people feeling in the street. It's like, man, what's up? How you get rid of Scrap? He was loyal. And but again, this goes back to good storytelling
Yeah.
and making sure that we start the seasons off, what the audience feels is slow. I'm like, that's not slow. Y'all just used to microwave TV. But good TV, we're gonna take your time, bring you along. So by the time we get to season 5, that's the reason people cry. If we didn't develop these characters early in season 1 and let you feel invested, you wouldn't care what happened to Marvin or Rock by the end of season 5. It just would have been another show. But in order to bring y'all along, we got to make y'all care. You gotta feel something in your heart and say, man, I want to see what's going to happen with this guy. So thank you for even sticking around long enough to watch the arc happen.
For sure, man. For sure. Like, it's funny when you say that people were complaining that it might be going slow in the beginning, because you got to season 5 and everybody's like, 8 episodes. What do you
I
mean 8
know.
episodes? We need
Right.
10. How are we gonna get this all done in 8? And I gotta say, there were points where I felt like certain arcs could have been
Right.
stretched out a little bit more, just because we're used to the
Right.
10, but it was economical. Y'all
Yeah.
got in and got out, and
Yeah.
those storylines wrapped up, and we're gonna definitely get to the whole the apex of your character and the death scene and what came to that. One question I did have as far as relationships go, we've been talking about relationships, and we're talking to London Brown, Uncle Marvin Thomas from Raising Kanan, talking season 5 on Power After Hours. Jeff, Krissy, and London with you. Thank you for joining us. Flossie, that relationship that built. You want to talk about the growth of Marvin as a character. Season 1, Marvin wasn't trying to have like tea and crumpets and bond over trauma. Like, I feel like season 1, Marvin was one track minded. He's like, yo, what you doing after this? Like, yo, send the girls home and then let's go out on the town. But season 5, he just seems so focused on just having those conversations, just like, yo, I'm not here. Like, has to tell multiple people, like, I am not here for this. It reminds me of like in high school when you're actually friends with a girl and they're like, you ain't friends with, whatever. Yo, just if you gonna lie to me, but come on,
right.
man, come on, right? But that's how Marvin was. What do you think was the connecting point between Flossie and Marvin and how they bonded
I
as
think
friends? It seemed to me.
it was the I think it was dealing with loss. I think they both were dealing with
Mm.
loss, and that helped tie them together because she lost her daughter, he lost his brother, and so there was a vulnerability that was exchanged between the two, where she shared something really personal with him about things, and I think that allowed him to kind of feel some sort of level of trust, you know. And she was, and again, Marvin. Now, my theory is that I don't doubt that she probably liked Marvin on some sort of level. Um, but I also think that there was a respect level there too. So it was never going to go there.
Right.
But and I don't even know if she liked him. I think maybe even if she liked him, I think she just liked who he was as a person. Just like, man, Marvin's cool. He's not intimidated by me or a woman in charge. He's not, because he's not trying to holler at her. He just, just being neutral. And the fact that that was there, I think it made her look at him differently. Like, okay, you know what? Maybe I can talk to him. He's looking at me, or he's talking to me. There's no judgment. He's not flirting with me. He's not trying to come on to me. He's just a guy who just trying to do business, and just he's a cool dude. Outside of all the shenanigans, I think she respected him for that, and I think he respected her for her position as well, which is like she run things. But she didn't she unlike even his sister, who spoke to him a little recklessly sometimes. He's like, man, she respect me for my position. I respect hers, and those neutral grounds was enough for them to kind of build a very platonic relationship.
Listen, I'm gonna just say this. I have followed you on Instagram, and you give us these motivational, quotes and speeches. And when you were whooping Kanan's ass in that, I was like, bruh, like, where are you getting that inspiration from? Because this is not this is not the London that's telling me to follow my dreams as he's beating Kanan's ass. So where did you get that inspiration from?
Wanting to stay employed.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you
The
why.
best.
My thing was, shout out to my stunt guy, the coordinator, and my stunt double and everything. But I made it a point. I wanted to do all my own stunts because one, that's the only way you're gonna learn. You just gotta
Mm.
do it yourself. And then two, the last thing I wanted, shout out to my guy. Last thing I wanted was him to throw a punch better than mine and be like, you know what, London, Marvin gonna get in a car accident. You're like, nah, 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 nah. I'm gonna do all my own stunts. I'm still injured from a lot of those things I did. Um, but
Wow.
I know it's just gruesome. It was just very taxing. From shooting the guns. I remember when Marvin was going after Neek, and Marvin was out the back seat of out the back of the van. My
Yeah,
shoulder,
yeah.
I was a lot of injuries. But what I will say is that when it comes to that situation, again, I lost my brother. I
Mm,
can't tell you all of the emotions that come with that, but you do feel those things. So again, Marvin and I are not that far apart. I'm just a healed version of Marvin. But
ooh,
I know
Mm.
what Marvin is. I know Marvin. And like I said, a lot of things, the fact that Marvin and I both lost a brother, and feeling upset about that. And or Marvin, when he was at the coroner's office and having to look, I had to do those things. My brother, my family,
mm,
my my pops couldn't do it, and my mom was the soldier and all of this, and she, whatever order she gave, I just followed them through to make sure it was done. But it's a different kind of energy. And I'm the oldest, so like we were talking about
Mm.
earlier, I don't have any kids, but I'm the oldest sibling, so I know what my next sister in line. My next sister's, I got 6 years on her. So I always had like a few years. So it's always felt like I had some sort of ideas of
yeah.
what it's like with kids. And so a lot of those things translate, um, they translate over to to Marvin. So again, Marvin and I, we're not that far apart. I'm just a reserved version. I know there's consequences to my actions. I always try to at least consider them. Unlike Marvin didn't care. That's why people was talking about people. I remember season one, everyone was talking about Marvin crashing all the cars, and man, what are you doing, man? His insurance gonna go up, but he got what do you want? Marvin went through like 5 cars in
He
season one.
did.
He ain't struggling anything about no car. And back in the day, you didn't even need insurance. If anybody over 35 or 40 know insurance, that's That came later on. Back in the day, you just driving. You know, Marvin crash a car, flip a car, get another one. Is nothing. You know, he ain't broke. You ain't never seen him looking tacky. Hair always cut.
Ooh,
Uh, rock hair always what they call it, laid and
Yeah.
everything else. So I think that's what they say. You know, so the family ain't broke. Jukebox and Polar, everybody's good to go. But
yeah.
anyway, this is to say that when it comes to Marvin, man, Marvin is just one of those guys, one of those people that we want to follow. We want to see what's up with him. We want to go along with the journey with Marvin because Marvin is a real one. He got layers. So even if you're a woman or you're another race or something, there's still something a part of Marvin that makes you say, I don't really know a Marvin, but he's interested. Let me see how he gets out of this. Or
Mhm.
even with the eating. I know everyone always asks me about the eating. The eating was just one of those things where I said, how do I keep him interested when he's not talking? So even when Marvin's in the back or he's in the scene with somebody, you just want to see what's he doing? What's going on with Marvin? And again, just another layer of saying, man, why is he eating this? Or what's causing him to eat? So then that's why even by the time, as you picked up, by the time we get to season 5, we said, oh, whoa, something must be going on because Marvin's not eating. Let's see what
Mhm.
that looks like. Again, just layering these characters down so that we feel invested to keep up with them.
For sure, for
Forgive
sure.
me, man. I don't mean to be verbose.
No,
We
I got
love
so
it.
many stories and things. So don't you just cut me off anytime, man.
be as boast as you want to boast, bro. You know what I'm saying? You all good. We just want to be sure we good. You always give us your time, so we're not
Yeah,
worried about that. We got, and you're helping us run through the format real well, so I don't
yeah.
got no complaints about that. Funny thing, a couple of things from what you said. One, this is probably the most stress poses I've ever seen Martin. Like if you look at the stills that the network take, it's like you got your hands on your hips, you
Yeah.
crossing your shoulder, you sitting down, laid back, like stress, straight stress,
Right,
as
right,
opposed
right.
to like the jovial nature before. And it's the two power lures that always come up is why Marvin be crashing cars, and how does Tommy pay for parking, if he pays for parking throughout all of New York City, because he would park his car everywhere. And that's
For
what fans
sure.
was like, I know this is Midtown Manhattan, bro. Like I know unless you got the unlimited parking connect, or like there's like
Yeah.
a drug dealer version of Uber
Right.
where you get for parking. I don't know. But yeah, man, it's funny when you talked about y'all finding out when other characters are gonna die in the show. When did you know that Marvin was gonna die?
We did a that last season, I think that episode, because low key, this is what a lot of actors do, especially on a show like this. When you get a script and you gotta do the table read, you be like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
I'm like, cool, I live. You know, you think about that because look, when Ghost got killed off on Power, I said, Ninja ain't nobody safe.
Nobody. Yo.
I mean, he's the face of the franchise. So when I was
Yeah.
like, I just couldn't even fathom that. I was like, yo, that's the guy. He's the guy. So how to go? So anyway, with that, when it came down to the season 5, and I saw it, and I wasn't too mad. I was like, all right, well, and I think I'm trying to think if Sasha told me before then. I can't really remember, but at least when it got the tape, when I read the script, got the script, I was like, all right. I said he goes to 7, or I think they told me. I think he gave me a heads up. But actually, like I said, Marvin is in the whole season, so
Right.
But as far as the emotionally going through that, I was just like, man, all right. I was like, all right, well, let's see how it's gonna go. Because at first, I was like, I wanted to go out almost in a scene where Marvin and Breeze had this shootout. I wanted to go guns
Yeah.
blazing. I was
Guns
thinking
Blazing.
that
Ah,
in my
yeah.
mind. I was like, let's just go. I want Set It Off, Queen Latifah. I want Training Day, Lorenzo.
Yeah.
Uh, Alonzo, I think. I wanted, blazing, but just how they did it, I thought it was even better. It just, Marvin just went out. He wasn't scared. He went out very
Yeah.
stoic, and to the point where Marvin even sat back and just was asking, what's this about? So relaxed. Marvin had time to pull out a cigarette. If we're gonna do it, let's talk about it. Then he
Yeah.
was like, yeah, not scared at all. It was important for me to play him that way because, again, imagine if who knows if another actor had played Marvin being timid. Hey man, hey Kanan, man, I only did what you did because you took out my brother. Man, we
Right.
don't want to see that side of Marvin. That wasn't even the way to go. But I think just how he did it made it. Uh, and I think Marvin also knew it was happening. So the fact that it happened like that, I was like, cool, man. But the most touching part about that was what Sasha wrote at the end. He wrote like this. I think it was like almost like a 2 or 3 page eulogy that was
Yeah.
never
Mm.
even going to be shown. And I think recently he posted it on his page.
Yep.
Yep.
And that was something that wasn't even for the actors in the room. That was just some Sasha Penn showing some love to Marvin
Mhm.
/ showing his appreciation for, I guess me as the person. And I appreciate him for that because even he said, I felt what he was saying to London through that through that unscripted page, 3 page eulogy at the end. Again, it wasn't even supposed to be seen. So
Mhm.
what would make the writer write something that that's not even a part of the show? It's not a part of the show, and no, like it ain't like, again, it ain't like they posted it at the end. That was just some words Sasha decided to write for Marvin / I felt his sentiments to me, London, because we did become cool on set, you know. Um, and again, I'm glad he was able to appreciate me and the empathy that I have for people because we would talk, personal stuff and things like that, and I would hear him out, he'd hear me out, and it's just cool that um those sorts of things make their way onto the page and off the page. So anyway, to your question, it was just cool. The eulogy part that he wrote at the end, that just let me know that Marvin had grown beyond the pages, and that's dope.
No, that's real. I read it and it's funny because like I'm reading the script and then I see the extra and the extra. I'm like, okay, is this the narration? All right, that's not the
Right.
narration. I'm like, oh. It almost felt like with computer programmers, they'll leave little notes in the code for other programmers, just like
Yeah.
some cool stuff. That's what it felt like with Sasha and his extra eulogy, just for the people who he knew was gonna read it. This is how I felt, and
Yeah.
I wanted to pay homage to the character. So I thought that was dope. Now, when I
Yeah.
looked at
Absolutely.
that scene with you and with Marvin and Kanan, I was saying this feels like Southside Jamaica Queen's Greek tragedy
Yeah.
because
Wow.
Marvin played that role of a prophet where you literally call out everything that happens to Kanan from that, at least in
Mhm.
his late ages, right? Like
Yeah.
what his fate is going to be. So did you draw anything from OG Power or just knowing what you knew about Kanan's fate? Was there anything that you could draw from there to be able to put any extra emphasis on that prophecy that you gave for him? And why do you think Marvin could see that future so clearly?
Not at all. I mean, here's the truth. I didn't even watch Power
I
when
remember
it
you
came
said
out
that. I remember you
because,
said
again, I
that.
was on
Yeah.
Ballers and I wanted to do it. I couldn't do it, so I didn't even want to. And I remember when the season first came out. I remember I had a phone call with Fifth, and 50 was telling me like, "Yo, man, you remind me of Lawrence Fishburne character in Gangs of New York, I think it's called."
Yeah.
So he said, "Have you seen it?" I said, "Nah, man, I ain't seen it." And then people suggested that I watch it, but I definitely didn't want to watch it because I wanted to create Marvin from his own place. And
Right.
so, to your question, the only thing I didn't pull from anything from Power. I just wanted to play it honestly. At the time, it was annoying. They wouldn't give us the scripts early on, and a part of me was just like, man, I want the script so I know if what to play now for the future episodes of
Right.
future seasons. But it's actually, looking back in hindsight, it was really, really good that they didn't, because it forced me to have to just live in the truth. And so,
Mm.
not knowing what's ahead, I better be extremely present so that the continuity emotionally all lines up to the end of wherever they had it going. I didn't know. We didn't know. I didn't know what was going to happen as far as Marvin and Kanan being the one to do it, and all that stuff was new. But to what you're saying, I think that just Marvin. The energy came from London being around real OGs who, like, I've been around this. And so
Mm.
again, I know Marvin's in real life. So when it came to Marvin giving off this energy and whatever he was able to foresee, I think that's just Marvin again, just being an OG and knowing, like, listen, man, whatever you think you're trying to do, I've done this 3 lifetimes. So I'm telling you, I've spoken to cats who have unalive people. They say those faces still stay there. They still play.
Mm.
They still got to live with that stuff. So even though they function and everything, but those images and those last words and all of that, those things stay with you. So even then, I think it was just Marvin just trying to just being an OG and just trying to give my heads up. Like, listen, man, whatever you gonna do to me, that's fine, cool. I've accepted this. That's why my daughter's set up and I got some things in place. I got it. I understand life because I'm an OG. I know how this works. But for your sake, you
Hmm.
better understand. You think this is easy, and but you're gonna be struggling with these things as you live. Beyond me, I'll be long and gone, but I'm gonna still be with you. And sure enough, I think that's how we was able to see that. Like when he died alone in that car, we was like, "Yo, Marvin, Marvin again is all with all the nonsense that Marvin was into. There was a part of Marvin. Marvin knew them streets though. Marvin
Mm-hmm.
Marvin was thorough, so he was trying to give him the heads up, like, listen, bro, this is not what you And I say this to people, even with me in London's real life. I'm like, this is how you measure to see if the information you're giving is legit or not. If the person that's giving you the message, if they were to disconnect from you, not talk to you ever again, if I lose my Instagram account, can the game or the information I'm giving you, can it still be applicable to you in your life, whether I'm here or not?
Mm.
So when I talk about relationships and different things, and sometimes women want to disagree or people want to disagree, I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe you don't like me, you don't like my acting, you don't care for my page or how I wear my hair, whatever. Let's remove London from this. Is what I'm saying to you, can it still help you? And if the information can help you, then you know what you're getting is solid. And I think with Kane, it's the same thing. I'm like, Kane, okay, whether you got it from me or somebody else, I'm telling you, what I'm giving you is some game. It's gonna benefit you. And also to test information is, does this information benefit me without you altogether?
Mm.
Because
Mm.
sometimes people will give you game, and we have to sit back and be like, man, what does the person giving me the information? What do they gain from this? Let's remove Marvin out of this altogether. Kanan, this for you. I can
Mm.
be me and Jukebox can leave. Bro, these lives and things, how you living, you trying to take us all out. You got to live with that. You got to look yourself in the mirror at the end of the day and be with yourself. So anyway, Marvin just, as an OG, he just understood those principles. That's all.
Listen, Marvin did a lot of wrong on this show. Okay, like he was not, we love to love him, but it's not like he was the best person. You know what I'm saying? So
Right?
when you think about all the things that he's done and of all the people that could have been responsible for Uncle Marvin dying, do you feel that it had to be Kanan? Now that you're able to talk about it, do you feel like Kanan was the right choice for you to die by?
I think Marvin was the right. I think Kanan was the right choice because first of all, Neek, Breeze, anybody else, that would have been a little too obvious for one. So
Mm,
it's not as exciting. But I think there's something devastating about it being his own nephew. It's something
mm,
about it's something about when blood do you wrong, it just hits a little different. It's like, man, people right up under you, so close to you. And the fact that, again, even though Kanan took out Lou was an accident, there was nothing about Kanan that even felt like he really felt bad about it, and really was there was he didn't go down. He was shocked and everything, but we was like, yo, what's up with that? Like
Yeah.
there's nothing about, or and then you look at Rock. What was it about Rock? I mean, how but it's like a two-sided, it's an interesting dichotomy between what Rock was dealing with. We're talking about somebody who was sad about her brother, who loved her brother dearly, yet she loved her son in a way that only a mother could. Be like, you protect.
That's the part right there.
We like yeah, your brother's gone, but that's your son. Like, but again, shout out to the writers writing those two ideas to face each other, the love for her son and how far she's willing to go. And but because even then I was still trying to figure out. And I'm about to ask the writers this, or the fans might know, but I'm like, well, why did she tell? What made her tell Marvin? Like, she told Marvin
Yeah.
what Kanan did. She knew she gonna get a reaction out of him. What reaction was she thinking to get? If it weren't for Juke, he would have taken Kanan out the way Marvin was feeling. Even though I'm sure there's part of Marvin that didn't want that ultimately would have felt. I think there's a part of Marvin that would have felt bad about it after the fact, but in that moment, Marvin would have done it. So these are those layers that are off the page that actors we have to try to explore within our own journals about what would have happened if Jukebox not walked in there, and what would like Marvin would have done that, but would he have felt the same thing he felt when after he put his hands on Juke and he realized in that moment like, oh shoot, I went too far.
Mm.
How does he explain that to Rock? But Rock told him about it,
Yeah.
and then realizing that it's not Neek, it would have been it would have been way easier to address Neek. That's what the audience would have wanted. That would have been easy for the characters and for the audience.
For sure.
Marvin putting down Neek, that's cool. That would have been the one done, but it's his nephew. So some of those punches, it was anger, it was hurt, it was betrayal, it was a lot of stuff in those punches. That's why it couldn't have. It wasn't. I saw a clip someone tag me in today where it was OG Kanan beating up, I think some white dude and hit him over a table or something. And it was like somebody was like, "Oh man, I knew the Marvin and Kanan scene was familiar." I'm like, "They're not. It's not the same thing." Where
Right.
Marvin was punching from was a totally different place.
Yeah.
Emotionally, it was again. It wasn't just being upset. It was the fact that he's been chasing this. He's been chasing himself. Nobody's been really telling him the truth. There's dishonesty in there. It's the loss of his brother. It's the fact that it was his nephew. I mean, it was so many things in those punches. That's why it had to be, shout out to Waddy and the team. It had to be choreographed in a way where the audience felt like it was. And then also, if we go back to season 4, when Marvin went to go see that talent show with Juke, with Rock, and then I think Marvin Kanan said something slick to Juke, or Kanan said something slick to Rock, and Marvin looked at it like, "Yo, you gonna let him just talk to you like that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like this?"
Yeah.
Marvin's been wanting to give Kanan this whooping eons ago, but out of respect for his sister,
Sister.
that's your son. I'm gonna stay back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay. So it just all of those lines finally just came to a head where again those punches came from a different place because it was for all of those things bottled up that Marvin has been dealing with, all Marvin's losses, and that's what happens a lot of times. A lot of guys in jail, when you see guys get into it on the street over something, or you see somebody lose their life in a club for somebody stepping on their shoes, it
Yeah.
wasn't the shoe. That's the surface.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things on that guys are dealing with. The undergird of things that the shoe was just the thing that set off the alarm. But these people walking around with all. That's why people got to be careful when it comes to road rage and different things. You don't know
Yep.
what people are dealing with.
Bro.
You don't know.
Facts.
You don't know if they're or how they might be one honk away
Yeah.
from taking you in their life being. You never know. Sometimes you just got to sit back. You got to say, okay, is this worth me making a thing out of? Nah, let me chill out. I'm not saying not to have emotions, but you just don't know.
Yeah. You don't know.
Ninjas is crazy out here.
Yeah.
You got to be
Facts.
careful.
Facts.
Yeah.
That's some
But
of the
anyway,
best advice
y'all
you
get
ever
it.
gonna give on this show because especially in New York, it's like you auto default to like we go curse, but you
I'm
don't
listening.
know if everybody's on that same
Let me
type
get
of
my
time.
charger. Hold on. I'm
Yeah,
listening. I'm
do,
listening.
do
yeah,
your thing.
yeah.
Do your thing. Power After Hours, your favorite power podcast. London Brown, Uncle Marvin in the building with me, with Krissy, with you. Shout out to everybody that's live chat. You know you live. If you are in the building, send this link to somebody who you know who loves Raising Kanan, who loves the Power Universe, and tell them to tap in with us because we got London Brown in the building. He's giving you tips on how to get through life without getting your ass beat or worse. Like at this point, you getting life coach advice, you getting acting advice, you getting it all. Like that's what. All jokes aside, though, London, that's one of the reasons we love having you on because this is an easy conversation, and
Yeah,
we love
yeah,
to
I
have
get you.
those type, especially with you and interacting with our fans and all of that, man.
Yeah, I
Definitely
appreciate it,
just
man.
appreciating that. So, I am stalling for you. You talking about you a stand-up comic. You're like, yo, wait, they said 5 more minutes. They said 5 more minutes.
Yeah.
I seen that in the award show. I think it was Chris Rock. He's like, 5 more minutes. All right. And he's like, yo, let me test out some material while we out here. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So I think it was one of the Oscars or Emmys or something like that.
Mhm.
So let's get back. First of all, couple of things.
Oh, shoot.
That Kanan fight scene, you whooping Kanan's ass, that was like trending everywhere where people were like, yo, that is like the classic 90s uncle beat you down
Yeah.
straight. It was like that. We haven't seen a beatdown like that since the Fade in the Water, the Montgomery Riverwalk brawl.
Yeah.
They were like, yo, we ain't seen a beatdown like that in ages. So I just love how y'all have those classic moments that go viral that fans love, and that's why the pain of seeing Marvin go hit everybody. It's like one of those. We knew it was your time. We knew the probability of all of y'all getting out of this was probably close to 0 because there's got to be a reason why this dude went crazy. And to that point, Juke too. Because this is also her story of how she turned into what she eventually became. So seeing that, I see all the comments. They like, yo, how they do my man with the slow mo shots. It looked like he got shot up like 9 times, almost like fifth. Like the way it was going, replaying back and forth.
Yeah.
What was the mood like on set during y'all shooting that scene?
Great question. The fun thing was I could. A shout out to the crew and everybody. It was somber, like everyone was working, but there was a thing where I remember the crew like coming up to me and they were talking to me like it was almost they were talking to me like I was being fired. Like everybody was kind of like, "Hey man, it's been lovely having you, man. I just,
Dang.
people,
Should be happening,
people
though,
felt
you know what I'm
something,
saying?
and
This is
we
crazy out here.
it was weird because we were working, but I could still the way they showed love to me was like I was really leaving. I'm like, I'm here tomorrow. I got but it was a thing in the air, and so they were just really kind to me, man. People, I could feel the love from the crew because again, it's not difficult to feel something when you actually care about when you care about people, when you care about the person, but you also they care about Marvin because they like Marvin. But I could tell that the crew, I had a good relationship with the crew, so it was just they were just really. I don't know. It's really somber. They was really cool. Like I could feel them giving me my flowers and just like, yo, man, it's great working with you these seasons and so forth. But it was cool. It was sad. It was sad as far as I don't say sad, but it just was. I felt the love. That's all. It was touching because I could tell that people felt like they were going to miss having London around, and that's cool. That's what you want people to feel. When you work, you want people to, you end up because again, I'm seeing these people more than I'll see my own family because we around each other every day. It's
Yeah.
like a good 5 years. So we wake up, we all, we all kind of going through this together where we all got to be up at 3, 4 in the morning. I got my lines to work on. They got rigs they got to set up. The riders we all going through these growing pains together. So it was dope, man. Shout out to the crew and everybody, man. They were good people.
There's one thing that I've wanted to ask you as I've watched you throughout these seasons. We've looked at you, you killed people, you've hurt people, you've done some really terrible things. I'm just gonna put that out there. But we've also, we've watched you love and change and parent and grieve, the loss of Lou. And you really did try to become a better person throughout these seasons. So when everything is said and done, I want you to answer this as London Brown,
Okay.
watching your character, do you think Marvin Thomas was a good man?
Yep. I think Marvin was a good person. He did he did some he's done some bad things, but he wasn't a bad person. Again, look, Marvin Marvin is, when you think about a lot of stuff, Marvin is just responding to. He ain't really starting nothing. He just reacting to it. If you said something slick, he gonna get at you. If you skimming off the top, he gotta address that. So Marvin isn't a bad person. Marvin, and Marvin wasn't in the street life, you know, Marvin probably would have been a he would have been just as cool owning a barbershop. He would have been the OG coming in there to the barbershop, still fly but cutting hair and giving game. He would have been almost been like I feel like something on the lines in the area or in the zeitgeist of what Samuel L. Jackson's character was on Juice. Like, just the guy who worked the store who just know all the information about stuff, give a little game, give you a heads up, watch your back, and he out the way. But he just happens to be in his lifestyle. But Marvin's not a bad person. He's a good person. He just got caught up. But he's good. And we know a lot of people like that. Where,
You do.
you be like, when you really look, I do a lot of work with homeless people, right? And connecting this to my earlier story, how I grew up around a lot of street people. And so when I got into photography and I started dealing with homeless people, when you sit down and really talk to these people, everybody out there ain't just on drugs because they just like drugs, or they're not out homeless because they just want to run the streets. Some of these people, Vietnam vets, some of them they
Yeah.
got a divorce, went through a depression. Some of them got out of mental institutions, had no place to go. They fell in hard times. We're talking about COVID hit, they lost their business, their job. When you sit down and you talk to a lot of people, everybody got a story. It's
Yes.
nobody, people aren't born criminals, right? Even though the system tries, there's a whole other thing, the system try to play us like people are. People are not born criminals. These things are picked up along the way. How did you get there?
Mm.
And this brings me, even with my page, or when I go live, I like to go into the psychology of these things. Not, you know, it's not about what people do, but why? How did you get here? And if you start to go into, when you start to understand the psychology of people, it brings your judgment down because you realize everybody got a story. So how did Marvin get here? Oh, why is
Mm.
Rock so tough? And we start to go back and say, oh shoot, Marvin lost his dad to suicide. Did Marvin ever go to therapy for that? Therapy wasn't popping back in the 90s. Nobody talking about
Nope.
going to get help.
We have that
All of these
language.
things. What would have happened if oh, Marvin didn't go to anger management, and and his therapist telling him, listen, man, just slow down a little bit. Before you
Yeah.
say that, how about considering this way? All these things help to get us to the Marvin that we see in season 5. But before then, again, because initially when we saw Marvin, Marvin was the irresponsible one. I remember everyone was telling me, man, Marvin need to get stuff together. Rock, Rock wasn't including the man on things because Marvin wasn't slowing down the processing. Marvin had a lot of maturing to do in his own way. But understanding that with all of these characters, how about this? Here's another plot twist. We all thought Neek was a bad dude. We
Yeah.
thought Neek was terrible. I'm not saying he was
Yeah.
perfect, but we thought he was terrible. And then what happened? We look up and we see Breeze. We like, you know how bad a character got to be to make another one look good? We was like, what? We thought Neek was
Yeah.
shady. And then we see Breeze, we like, nigga, I don't trust Breeze. I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't know. But Marvin don't even trust Breeze. So when you
Yeah.
get to that point, again, these are these layers where sometimes we don't even understand. Again, when we look at Neek, that's just an example of we think we're looking at a bad person. And then you look up, you say, well, man, he ends up taking his girl and his family. That's another side of Neek. Where we say, you know what? Neek was like,
Yeah.
listen, man, what's more important? Let me prioritize my yeah. Let me get my kid, get my girl and my kid up out of here. With
Mhm.
all the badness that Neek was about, there's still another side of him that was at least good to his family, where he was like, yeah, let me figure this out. It's the same thing with when it come to Marvin, where we start to see another side. We like, yo, he Marvin is not actually a bad person. That's why, again, that's why people want to hang with Marvin, or they want to hang with London because they feel they connected to Marvin, which is Marvin ain't like again. He ain't snatching purses. He ain't just out here just robbing jewelry stores. He's not that kind of
Yeah.
guy. He's
Got
a
a
fly
code.
guy. He's responding on behalf. He's the muscle behind his sister. Whatever you want me to do, I don't think this makes sense. But hey, even when Stefano wanted him to go against his sister, and Marvin had that whole talk with her. Like,
Yeah.
yo, I was doing a side thing with Stefano, but not because I was trying to undermine you. I was just trying to get my own hustle.
Yeah.
I'm loyal to you. Stefano split us up. That's on purpose. Marvin was still, again, thorough. He may not have always made the best decision, but at the end of the day, Marvin was thorough, and I think that's why people felt what they felt. It's like any real one. Like when being from LA, we lost Nipsey, right? Nipsey Hussle.
Mm.
Mhm.
Peace be upon
Yeah.
him. Even if you wasn't part of the gang life in LA and none of that stuff, it's what it's what Nipsey represented, which was he's like, man, dude got his girl, got his kids, trying to do for the community. If you from LA, you know all his gang like he's not new to us. So we
Right.
know what he was about and what he stood on. But I remember he tells the story. In fact, I remember there's a story that this blood shares that he remember he was in a restaurant to get something to eat and Nip walk in. And I don't want to misquote it, but basically the story is just that like, yo, I saw Nip and they had been at odds with each other. The hoods had been at odds with each other. And basically what he respected about Nip was the fact that Nip was just like, listen, basically on the lines of, I'm in here to get something to eat, but I'm with all the smoke. But I'm not here on that, but I'm with all the smoke. Something on those lines.
Right. Right. Right.
But what was cool about that was the fact that the dude was like, y'all really respected that. Like
Yeah.
he didn't back down. He stood on what he was standing on. He was with whatever. But it's the fact that at the end of the day, Nip stood on some core principles of things. And I think that sort of that sort of underlining with people goes beyond colors, goes beyond hoods, goes beyond culture. They're just some principle things that solid guys stand on, even with whatever they do. Again, back in the day, there was a code. We're not shooting women or kids. And I think that's how I
Yeah.
think that's what makes how the street life is different now. Ain't no code. It's like, man, at least have a code.
Mhm.
At least, okay, go aim for who you gonna go after. But why we gotta include all these innocent people? And I
Yep.
think Marvin is one of those people who just stood on some principles, and I think that's why people respected him.
Power
Mm.
After Hours, your favorite power podcast. London Brown dropping them gems for you. Uncle Marvin, Raising Kanan season 3, the finale. We put a bow to the end of this era. We're gonna get into some super chats, Marv. We're gonna get London. We're gonna get into some super chats. Got some rapid fire for you, some other questions, and we're gonna get you out of here. So some of our
Eh,
fans wanted to ask you some questions. Right. First up, my guy DeMarcus always supporting. He got a few, so I'm gonna run through them. Thank you so much for your contribution, brother. London, did you audition for any other characters in the Power universe besides the Marvin character? I love the scene with you and Symphony in season 1 as you were protecting Rock.
I did not audition for any other character. I auditioned for Marvin. That was it, and did about 7 some or so callbacks, and that worked out. So yeah, that was the only character I auditioned for.
7
Wow. 7
callbacks.
is crazy.
Let me tell you,
Yeah.
I'm not an actor by any means, but I've done like commercial acting. I was doing it for 10 years. I booked one thing. So for you
Dude,
and there was like 2 or 3 callbacks, and I was like, yo, y'all do this for real, for real, for real life. I know y'all love this. I know you love this
dude,
because this is stressful.
dude, in fact, when I did Ballers, shoot, that audition process took about 2 months because low key, what happened was they wanted the network. From what I was told, the network wanted a bigger name,
Mm-hmm.
but the people I was in the
Ah,
room with, they fought for me. And shout out, I was told the same thing with Raising Kanan, where I think the network wanted somebody else, but the people in the room, Sasha and those guys, they fought for me. So I'm always grateful to people who understand me and fight for me to get, because and that's why it's important for me to really try to do well and show up every day, because I know there are people who put their name on the line. And so but yeah, it was only yeah, dude, people don't understand. We auditioned against thousands of people it's
yes.
hundreds of people going out for these parts, man.
Yeah.
So just to first of all, if you hold on, if you get if if you get an agent, that's
Mm-hmm.
one thing. Two, if you get an agent who cares, because lots of people got
Mm,
agents, but the agents don't send them out.
Mm-hmm.
And because if they sometimes if they on an agency with if you on an agency and you next to uh Damson Idris, Brad Pitt and George Clooney, they probably not thinking about you and your
yes.
guest appearance. So you
Right.
gotta have if you get an agent, if you get one that cares, and then if they send you out on the right stuff, because sometimes cast agents not really sending them on anything, credible like that. So fortunately, I had an agent who cared, who fought, and was really on and making sure. And mind you, he had only been he wasn't even really my agent. He was somebody that was interested. So
Mm.
he was just like, hey, I met him 5 minutes. And after the second meeting, he's like, hey, yo, man, uh, I got this, this audition, man. You may want to take a look at. It's called Raising Kanan. I didn't even know it was part of the Power Universe.
Right.
I think it was called like
Wow.
Power Book 3 or something. I didn't even know.
Mm-hmm.
Had no
Yeah.
idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So anyway, the fact that shout out to Jason, the fact that he was just like, yo, and it just lined up. I landed. That was the first thing we came out the gate with. So it all lined up. It was that's I don't take credit for this. This is all God stuff. I'm just this is God. So anyway, you got it.
Hey, you said 7 callbacks. That triggered me. That activated me like the Winter Soldier, bro. I said 7. But you know
Right.
what? They got it right.
They
If it
They
took
got
did.
it right.
7, they got it right. So we
Thank you, man.
appreciate that. DeMarcus with another one. A scene with Marvin and Ronnie Mathis would have been very comical together. Who would win a fight between Marvin and Ronnie? That's hilarious. That's a good one, DeMarcus.
That's a good one, Mr. Easy one. Marvin ain't listen. Marvin no crazy.
Yeah.
Soon as he would have seen Ronnie and noticed that ninja wasn't blinking, he said, "Marvin said,
Mm-hmm. Yep. Ain't no
click.
fighting. Ain't no fighting.
We ain't getting close. We not getting close to that. First of all, Marvin ain't tolerating no disrespect. If Marvin asks you a question and you not speaking back, we got a
Yep.
problem. Ronnie just be staring off into the distance. Let me tell you, London is. I tell people all the time, if I was an Uber driver and a brother like Ronnie if I picked up, I said maybe from the app I probably couldn't tell. Let's just say, but I
Right.
pulled up to the destination and I saw some ninja wearing glasses with them sleeves, with them wrists coming out that members only coat, just
Yeah.
standing there.
Mm-mm.
You
Ride
profiling them? You
denied.
profiling
Canceled.
them?
Canceled. Immediate
Denied. I don't care
cancel.
how many stars he would have gave. I'm not put.
Mm-mm.
You can't trust somebody like Ronnie.
Ronnie.
Anytime that's how you know people crazy when they don't blink. You could have blown you could have blown sand in Ronnie's eyes. Ronnie ain't blinking. I don't
That's
trust
a fact.
nobody that can't blink. I don't play that.
Ah.
So Ronnie, Ronnie, it wouldn't have been no fight. That's the point.
Yeah,
Marvin would have
listen.
been out.
That's the smartest thing. That
Ronnie
man was a
scared me.
combination of Steve Urkel and Michael Myers, bro. Like I seen
Yeah.
him, he was crazy.
And shout out to him, man, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. He could have easily won best supporting actor, best guest star. I don't know what they would call.
For sure.
He was so see. That's how you know an actor's good. There are some layers to him. He don't say he crazy. He don't. No one says that he's. Excuse me. No one says that he's crazy. But there's something going on in behind the eyes of Ronnie. We don't know what that is. We don't know what happened to him in jail. We don't know. But there's something about Ronnie where yeah, I bet not be in the elevator with him. I
Mm-hmm.
don't. Those are layers because that brother did an incredible job
Yes, he
playing
did.
crazy because he didn't play somebody else. They would have played the obvious. They would have, would have been twitching or blinking too much. He
Hmm.
played. He did the polar opposite. He made Ronnie simplistic, and he just brought him all the way down to a stillness. That's a cold. I wish I had scenes with him. That was somebody I would have. I don't know what the scene would have been, but I thought Ronnie, the guy who played Ronnie, I can't think of his name. Forgive me, brother. He did a phenomenal job. Hats off to him for playing crazy
Yes.
but not playing crazy,
He scared me.
being
I say
Grantham
that
crazy.
many
Coleman.
times. Oh,
Yeah,
what's
he,
his
he didn't
name?
play crazy. He
Yeah.
just was crazy. That to be or
Yes.
not to be, that was Ronnie.
Right. That's
Yeah.
Grantham Coleman. Grantham Coleman who was playing Ronnie.
Yeah,
Like,
shout
yeah,
out to
that's
him, man.
yeah,
Shout out
shout
to
out to him
Coleman.
for real. The Marcus last one. Marvin smoking that Marvin pack was intriguing. Yeah, when you fired up the one last cigarette, it was like
Yeah.
when you before you get executed, right? Like you
Yeah,
smoke
yeah.
the
Yeah.
cigarette, like they ask you what's your final meal, what's your cigarette, and he's like, yo, man, I'm gonna get this smoke off. I'm gonna tell you about yourself before it goes. So yeah, that's when I knew. I was like, oh, he gone.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
gone, man.
It
That's
was.
crazy.
I'm glad they. I'm glad they kept that because you never know what they're gonna take or keep. But
Was
that's
that
why
improv? Was that improv?
I think initially, well, it was yes and no in the sense of I think what happens is the writers they start to learn your voice,
Mm,
right? And so as they begin to learn your voice, they start to write things and create things for you. So after a while, again, they just kind of they start giving things towards you as they learn you. And so with that particular scene, I think there's a line in there, um, and how basically how it worked. I just wanted I wanted to just show Marvin being relaxed, and to the point where even when Marvin closes the lighter, just doing it with one hand, little
hmm
things, just
Hmm.
snap the lighter close, inhale the smoke, and exhale, and just gathered. I didn't. That was my main thing with Marvin. I didn't want him looking corny at all. I want him to just be a cool. When you look at Marvin, even when he shoots a gun, like you don't see Marvin. Like sometimes people when they shoot a gun, they do the Rambo face. Everything is all the
Yeah,
stress. When you look at Marvin, real stoic, real poised, and he just shoots and he just lets it go. Even when you think about the bar scene, it ain't
yeah.
spastic. It's just click, click, boom, 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 and it's just easy,
Surgical.
dude.
Yes.
So, and of course, when it comes to that, I gotta give it up to Denzel in the sense of when we look at Denzel, think about it. In Two Guns, it was a comedy, so it's a little different. But in general, we don't see Denzel rummaging on the ground. They
Yeah.
don't even look right. We don't want to see Denzel scared under some car. We not seeing Denzel on no ground. It don't even
Mm-mm,
make sense.
mm-mm.
When we see Denzel, think about that scene in Training Day when he lead Macy Gray and him and Hoyt they in the projects and they start shooting at the car. And he's telling Hoyt, man, calm down, like relax. Even though the car not starting. But when he gets out the car, it's two guns out. What's up? And he's walking towards a barrage of guys that are letting off rounds. But he's
Yeah.
not scared. He's shooting the
Absolutely.
guns off. Yeah, plack, plack, plack. Get in the car, pulls off. All I'm trying to do is create that not that but create a presence. When you look at Marvin, you feel like you can trust him to get out the situation. We don't know how, but we gonna get out of it, and we're gonna somebody the people need somebody that when you watch a show or a movie, you subconsciously you look for characters to attach yourself to. Who do I connect to? Who do I relate to? Whose cape can I hold on to get me through this story? And I just wanted that to be wanted Marvin to be that way for people where they feel like, I don't know if I don't know why, but something about Marvin, I want to attach myself to this character and go through this journey. So I think people were able to get that, so cool.
For sure, for sure. All right, and Josiah, thank you for the super chat. Chris, you got it.
Yeah, Josiah wants to know what were your favorite scenes with Mekai and Hailey? They were awesome, bro. And thank you, London Brown, aka Uncle Marvin.
Thank you guys. I think some of my favorite scenes with for sure a lot of I like a lot of men and Haley's stuff together because she always was present. She always showed
Yeah.
up. Like I never had to worry about because I've had emotional scenes with actors and they're not with me. I can look in their eyes. I say they think about their lines or something. They're not here. But
Mm.
Haley was always right with me. So anytime we had to do anything with emotions, I didn't. It was no struggle at all. I just look at her. She was there. I was there. So any one on one scenes with Jukebox, I super like. But even the lighter ones, where I remember Jukebox got out of her dance out of her rehearsal for the group, and
Yeah.
her interest, love interest, she walk off and it's just Marvin and Jukebox in the car, and they have a little thing back and forth. I remember I improvised that line of friends, how many of us have them, and you know they kept that. But it's just those moments where even though even if it's comedic, she was just always. I mean, an incredible scene partner. And then when it comes
Mm,
to Makai, one of my favorite scenes I watch every now and again is there's a scene I think in season two. This is the whole season when Marvin's in therapy, but Rock takes this dummy car with the body in the back. She had to go to the woods, and so anyway, there's a scene where Kanan comes out the house and he tried to put his luggage in the back in the trunk. And I say, yo, put it in the back seat. And that whole scene, a lot of that, the majority of that, we did a lot of improvising with that scene. He's good too. He whatever I was throwing at him, as far as the lines, he would return the energy. I think there's something like he slams the door. I say, do you have to slam the door that hard? And he goes and he rolls his eyes. And I said, if you roll your eyes any harder, you're gonna look possessed. And he just went right with me. And so he's just. I mean, all these guys, man. These guys are just great scene partners. They if I improvise a lot, which I was doing a lot early on, they just right with me. They just roll with the punches. So just to have actors that you can trust, that's the main thing you look for with when you got to do scenes, especially if the scenes are one on one, because ain't no guns, ain't no fast cars. It's just all you got now is just chops. It's just me and you. That's why I like that scene with Kanan at the end where you could feel the tension watching it. Be like, yo, he got the gut. Wait, what? Wait, what? And you could just feel the tension of that. Or even with the fight scene, I really liked how he's so. People give me credit, but it wouldn't have worked if he didn't sell it.
Yeah.
He
it's true.
he sold all those punches. Every whip blast he did, when his hand smeared that blood across that wall,
Ooh.
Makai was a trooper, and I know he
Yeah.
was tired. Those scenes are long days. They're physical. He was, man. He was such a great lead because sometimes you get young actors like that face on all the posters, doing all the interviews, and got the leap. They get weird quick.
Mm,
Makai
Mm.
always humble, always good energy, never a mood swing, never not polite, never not generous. I mean, you talking about a lead, man. He's such a great person. And Patina, man, we talking about great people.
yeah.
I wouldn't even been mad if Patina one day said she told the producers we couldn't look her in the eyes. I ain't got no problem with that. You earned that. And I'm cool enough to you want me to stare at the wall. I ain't got no problem. The way you carrying this show and the way you keeping us employed, leading it. Girl, I wear glasses when you walk by, but she was so gracious and just like Makai, humble pie people. I can't wait to work on him again, run into him again. Humble. So both of them were great people to work with, all of them.
For
I
sure, for
love that.
sure. All right, couple more. Hey Scotty, thank you so much, brother. Appreciate you. I'm not sure if anyone asked this, but what happened to the diamonds? You know what? I remember that you stole diamonds from Quan, like you had like an
Yeah,
escape plan.
I don't think Marvin kept them. Um, I got to go back. See, be honest with you, I haven't even watched Raising Kanan like that.
Mm.
I still got to go back. I haven't. That's the season I hadn't watched. I hadn't watched this
Wow.
'cause to interviews and stuff. So emotionally, I was ready to see. I want to see Marvin come out of this. But like them 1 through 4, I learned more about the show from reposting and the fans of the show. I don't know. Like I was trying to figure out. I didn't know who killed Famous until I was already 3 episodes in of season 5, and somebody told me. I was like, because I asked them, I said, why you keep, what happened? And the girl was like, you don't know who killed him? So I went to Stanley conversation.
Right.
Yes.
I went to go do some youth work, and one of the girls there, she just summed up the story. I was like, oh really? I was like, yeah. You don't be watching your own show. I don't know why you watch your own show. You be watching your show. But she knew it. She knew the story.
Yeah,
So
that's the one
yeah,
thing. That's the fun fact about London Brown. He gonna get to it, but he ain't on it. So you breaking news when you see that. But
yeah,
it is a lot. Like we are obviously we review the show, so we'll remember a lot of stuff. But there'll be times where our audience and our live chat will put us on to stuff that we can't remember from like season 3 of Power, and I'm like, bro,
yeah,
that was like 10 hairstyles ago. That was like that was pre-pandemic. You
yeah.
asking me to remember stuff pre-pandemic? That's like
Right.
the 1500s at this point for me. So like it's beautiful to see it and people be on point about your work. That's just a credit
Yeah.
to your work and what you do. All right,
Yeah.
DeMarcus got one more. The scene with young Marvin, baby Laverne, young Rock, Lulu, and baby Kanan was priceless. Family ties and good times. Yeah, I love the. Did you get a
Have
chance
you
to see the
seen that?
post-credit scene
Yeah, you
for the
talking
final
about
episode?
yeah. I had a chance
Well,
to
you
see it,
shot
and
it,
I
so you
thought,
know what the hell.
dude, I thought, first, I like that one. I still want to introduce that idea to my audience because I don't even know if they know about that yet. I'm like, because I'm pretty sure there are people who watched it once the credits went up. They probably wiped their eyes and walked off. And I'm like, no, there's
Oh
actually
yeah.
a nice little special moment to like button up the show. It just like close out like, oh man, we go back and we realize this goes back to what I was saying earlier, how people are born criminals. At one point, Kanan was an innocent child.
Yeah.
But Rock was, they were just a family. At one point, Jukebox wasn't shooting no
Mhm.
guns. She was in the store. Everybody got a story. And that's why it's important to just follow along before we start. And, as far as life, it's important not to, try not to, judge other people because we just don't know how they got there. And we sometimes we realize how people got there, it'll change your whole perception. But if we lead with that, then I think in general it keeps people from prejudge from prejudices and so forth.
I agree.
Absolutely.
1,000%, 1,000%. Thank y'all so much for those super chats. All right, London, we got some rapid fire questions for you, some fun ones. It's like you are like the king of the rapid fire questions. So I think we're gonna get some good stuff out of this. All right, let's
Okay.
rock with it. Krissy, you up first. Or you want me to
All
go
right.
first?
No, I do it. What's going
Rock.
on?
Rock.
All right. You get one scene with one actor you've never acted with before. Who is it?
Oh man. Oh, this is a tough one. I want to say I want to say Denzel.
Yeah.
Oh, but then I want to say Leonardo because I'm like, look, some actors, man, some actors you mess around and you become some. All you need is to be in a scene with them, and your status as an artist goes up. Like when
Yeah.
you get a feature from Hov, or you get a feature from Chris Brown.
Yep.
This ninja, Chris Brown. Look, Chris Brown is so good. I've heard songs with him, and he just elevates the whole song. Shout out to Breezy. Like, so I'm saying that to say that sometimes just being with somebody in your career do what they need to do, as well as, but I'm also thinking about game. I'm thinking who I can learn from. I'm thinking about Don Cheeto, because, but
Ooh.
also shout out to one of my favorites growing up watching, Lorenz Tate. I still think,
Mm.
personally, he, if we lived in a different world, Lorenz Tate would be the equivalent to like would be equivalent to like a Leonardo. If we was in a different world,
I
Lorenz
agree.
Tate got the chops, got the longevity. He ain't appreciated like, I mean, we appreciate him, but the world, they still don't understand Lorenz Tate. Lorenz Tate is out of this. When you think about fools fall in love, he played like 8 or 5 different 9 people in that. Anyway, don't get me going with that. But anyway, it might be. I'll go ahead and say maybe I don't know, Don Cheadle, Leonardo. Give me a Julia Roberts. You know,
Okay.
I
give
like
me
that.
Of course, Denzel's one. I'm really kind of open to
You're
working with
versatile.
different people. Yeah, man, let's do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And going back real quick to the whole post credit scene. After watching the MCU all these years, I don't leave the credits until they
Yeah,
even
never.
even when the app will go to the small screen to the picture in
Yeah,
picture, and
yeah.
you're like, do you want to watch our next movie? No, I'm
No.
here first. I'm from
I'm
the
here
old
first.
era where we used to watch credits and we didn't have the option to skip.
Yep.
Right.
I'm gonna see because I think they got something. And when I saw it, I was like, yes, this is even more tragic than what we just watched
It
because y'all
Yeah.
was.
were a family. Yeah,
And
it was good.
yes, and I actually even forgot about it. I was the one. I was like, Marvin said, "Bye." I was like, oh shoot! So
What the
it was a
hell?
nice surprise. I like that actually. I like that they did that.
Yeah.
So you played an uncle. I need to know what's the uncest thing you've done this year.
It depends. It depends on what you mean because the streets there's the street version of an uncle, which is any ninja with gray in his beard is an uncle these days.
Right. You 10 years older than somebody you were uncle.
You know, I'm like, when did this happen? Like, when did I just grow up and become Unc? So sometimes when people
Yeah.
say it to me on the street, I'm like, are you saying like Marvin Uncle? You call me the old head now? Like when did you become? But anyway, I think um what I will say this in the past few one of the uncest things I think I've done is I now can drink water without ice. I've graduated to that.
Okay,
I'm
me
that ninja
too.
now. Like I'm actually I'm drinking room temp. Nigga. I'm like,
Right.
when did this happen? I don't need no ice. You know,
I'm
when it
proud of
comes
you.
to I drink club soda now. Just at one point I thought club soda was from the devil. I was like, why there's no sugar in this? Who made this? But
Right.
now I will actually order one. Yes, I'll take the sparkling. Just bring it here. I'm that guy. I'm like, man, you know, it is kind of weird. But you know, I do got nephews, so on the reality things, I will, you know, I will kind of spoil those guys or give my niece some stuff, and I'll do that. But on a personal level, yeah, man, I drink water without ice. I drink room temp. I don't know when that happened, but I'm here. So
I
yeah,
hear that.
Yeah, I love that. Now, okay, I know Jeff is the sports guy, but I'm gonna ask this question. If you could see one of your favorite sports teams win a championship coming up this season, who would it be?
man, you know what? It's kind of weird. Like I'm from LA, so I'm a Lakers fan,
Hmm.
but I don't know. It's just kind of now. It's now Lakers have to. We're going to have to be in this rebuilding
Yep.
stage. But I will say this: having lived in New York, I was happy for the Knicks. I was happy that the Knicks got it. I felt like the Knicks deserved it just on the strength of just for the sake of the fans. Like the fact that the fans, the fans be and Knicks fans are so loyal. The Knicks they could have lost. uh, They could have lost 60 out of 72 games. The Knicks
Yep.
are still out there, face painted, the fake gloves and jackets, boots, Timberland Knicks. They ain't won in 35 years, but the Knicks fans are there. I was like, just for the sake of the fans, the Knicks need. So anyway, I would say, man, if it ain't gonna be LA, or the Lakers, Dodgers, or something like that, I'm cool with the Knicks. Go ahead, Knicks, y'all cool, man. Y'all got it.
You just made Jeff's night. Look at his background. That's the
I
biggest Knicks
mean,
fan
if we
you
gonna
could have
talk
ever.
about it, you know
I
what I'm
mean,
saying? If we
damn.
gonna talk about it, for those listening on podcast only, you know what I'm
Oof.
showing them. I'm showing him the world
God,
title. I ain't even gonna pull
Mhm.
why you
everything out
do
because
us
I
like
keep
that?
you here until 6 PST. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't even
That's
gonna do it to
funny.
you, but I appreciate you. I
That's
always loved
funny.
LA. I always love you know. I'll be silently rooting now for the Snowtime Lakers. You know what I mean? Like they
Yeah,
bringing it back to the '60s. You know what I'm saying? The
yeah,
complexion protection is in the building in Tinseltown. So I
yeah.
love it, bro. I love it. Let me ask you this: how did the borough of Queens influence you going through this whole power raising Kanan world? Because it felt like Southside was its own character itself. So I'm
Yes.
curious to know, for especially from non-native New Yorkers who play these roles of New Yorkers, how did Queens and that whole borough and the New York of it all, how did it influence you, if it did at all?
I know for me, one of the things I always I just kept as a soundtrack to my experience was I remember just always listening to Illmatic.
Mhm.
I just really love that album and the grit. of the album. When you listen to it, you can hear the '90s. You can feel the '90s when you listen to Illmatic. So I remember just doing that a lot. But then also I had friends from Queens, so I would hang out there. I would go there. I've shop there and be just immerse myself within the culture. I was always outside, when it came because I just want to really understand the culture and just the people, because even when you think about each borough has a different energy to it itself. Like that ain't even the same. You can't even group New Yorkers as one thing. So it was just important for me to just kind of be outside and just understand and listen to the conversation, how passionate, you know, people are about stuff that really shouldn't matter. But it's
Mm.
like because I'm a passionate person, so I resonated with that. So I think that's kind of how it played in with Marvin.
Love it.
Yeah, man. All right. So just my last, Raising Kanan-esque question. Which Thomas family member would you trust with your life? Would it have been Rock, Lou, Juke, or Kanan?
You know what? I kind of answered something like this before, and I felt like, oh no, I think there was. I'm sorry. I was asked about what cast member would London, trust to do, and I think I said Patina because she always she holds me accountable for stuff, just
Yeah.
like a sister would. She's so great for that.
I love it.
But as a character, I think I'm gonna say Lou. I think I'm gonna say Lulu. Like even though
Mm.
Lulu and I, we had our little bicker back and forth. But if I was in some sort of shootout, I'm not. There's nothing to think about.
Yeah.
We gonna argue back in the car about why he stepped on my shoes or did in my flat top. But I know he got my back. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it probably Lulu. He would get it. He would show up, man.
I
That's
love
dope.
that. What's a role that you would play or would want to play that might surprise people?
I want to play. I wouldn't. One of my personal things was I would want to play a mentally challenged character. Something
Hmm.
on that line. Something with again, I like characters with some layers. So that's one of those things I said, man, it'd be nice to do something like that, kind of different, out of the cool zone. This character might not always have a haircut. He might be dealing with some things. But again, we want to feel for the character. Like when you think about a character, I forgot the actor's name, but when you think about the movie Fallen with Denzel's
Hmm.
brother in the movie, just a character that we feel some empathy for. Why is Denzel character taking care of him? How did he get this way? And what that is. So something on those lines. Um, I don't know. So, but that's one of the ideas. I don't know. But don't get me wrong. I, in general, I'm definitely down for a little John Wick, a little quick, some gunplay type. I'm like, man, because shout out to Keanu Reeves. He
Yes.
he like I don't want to say rebooted because he always been working, but he brought a new fan base with them John Wicks. I'm like, man, he looks so cool. I think he like 60, but he looks so
Yes.
cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
Super
again,
cool.
when you see him shoot, this goes back to my reference, which is when you see him shoot those guns, he don't look timid. He not Rambo in it. He ain't doing none of that. It's just click drop.
Yep.
It's just slow. I think it's slow and
Smooth.
smooth and smooth as fast. He just looks cool. So those roles I really would like to kind of dive into. Either something like I said again, a character with some motion, but also I like characters with emotional depth. But then I'm also into a good old rom com. Good old Love Jones.
Ooh.
Love Jones
I can
ain't
see that.
going nowhere. It's
Ever.
it's just one of those things. Because if you're a guy, you want to be Darius. If you're a woman, you want to be with Darius. It's such a good, just just good old romantic. It ain't too cool for guys to watch either. It's just cool,
Right.
because again, Darius wasn't no simp. So those kind of characters they resonate with solid guys. Where you be like, man, that's a good little. And I'm not even into I don't even, not that I consider that a chick flick, but I'm not even into chick flicks. That's like I'm like, if the girl want to go see that, y'all go watch that and y'all do that. But
Mhm.
Love Jones, even brothers could. I remember I remember after the movie came out, Ninja was out there writing poems to be or not to be.
That's facts though.
Bodies are
That's
red
facts.
That's a
and crimson
fact.
Yes.
blue. But yeah,
Heck
that's
yeah.
that. I don't know. So I'm really kind of open, man.
I can see that. It's an untapped market now, funny enough. Like in the
Yeah, it
2020s,
is.
it's not really coming back. Like especially like the black
Yeah,
rom-coms. Like we've
Yeah.
yeah.
had a couple here and there, but I mean, like when we used to have them, we used to have them. They used to
Used
be
to
like
have
its
them.
own genre. So I'd
Yeah, for
love to see
sure.
that come back.
Yeah, you got a really good chance with Raising Kanan to dabble in fashion in those eras. So which one would you choose? 1990s fashion or 2020s fashion? I mean, you look good in both. I'm just saying. So just let us know.
I mean, it's almost it's interesting because I feel like I feel like 1990s fashion. I do like 1990s fashion a lot because also when I went to audition for Marvin, I was low key dressed like Lulu. I came in with the Coogee sweater, jeans, and Tim's on.
Ah,
So when I got to set, I saw they had a whole rack full of funeral slacks and them Easter shoes. I was like, what's up with this? But I'm glad they did it like that because it made Marvin look that much smoother doing
Yeah.
all of what he did in them dress slacks and all the way, it just made it look cooler. But I like 90s fashion. I can appreciate it, especially now. Like I still like me a good pair of Tims. But at the same time, there are some sweaters and some things I wore on the show, and of course I definitely wanted to take some of them from set. Not
I
that I
bet.
did, but I wanted to. You got to be clear.
Listen,
No, not that I did, but I like some of the Pelly jackets and some of them nice little sweaters and things. What we
Mm,
call them Cosby sweaters. Marvin had on. They was clean. I'll take the 90s.
yeah,
I'm with
it's
it.
funny. Y'all had like a New Jack City vibe to y'all. Like I would definitely
Yeah.
like to talk to
Yeah.
the costume. Like that's what I think of. And funny you talking about Martin. Anytime I think about New Jack City, I think about that scene. Like when you talk about Martin and watching it, it's like one of those scenes that and Chilligan's Island where if I'm doing something serious, I can't think about it because I'm gonna just bust out laughing, and then I gotta
Yeah.
tell you why. And now we've just derailed the whole conversation. So
This
I appreciate you dropping that on us.
I realize this too. If How can I say this in a clean way? If if there have been times where I've been with a woman and
Oh,
Martin on and Martin, I'm sorry, you got to get up because
Turn that TV off.
it's Martin. I can't. I'm laughing and I'm trying to hold this
Yeah,
down, but I'm
yeah.
looking at So Martin is just one of those things where again it's just so epic, man. It just like I said, Martin's never
timeless.
gonna get old. It's gonna be in my top two. It's just I mean it's just brilliance, man. But anyway, shout out to Martin Lawrence, man.
For sure,
Absolutely.
for sure. I was gonna ask you about something you're good at outside of acting, but you had mentioned I saw that too, that you was into stand-up comedy. How has your stand-up routine changed now that you've gotten this exposure as Uncle Marvin on Raising Kanan, that profile? Is it more difficult to tell jokes, or is it a different experience than you were just pulling up at clubs and doing your set?
I think I just reached a different audience because Ballers was one thing,
Mm-hmm.
but I could tell from the audience, uh, the people that come out to the show now, those are the people I really been wanting to connect with when I do stand up. Because again, a lot of people don't know I come from stand up, but um, it's just a fun time. It's a fun time, and I'm about to start touring again as of even this month. But I'm excited to actually get out and and connect with people and that sort of thing. It's a different thing. It's gonna be a different emotion because it was already cool because they liked me from the show. But I know also emotionally, I feel like I've been feeling like I want to give the audience of Raising Kanan like a hug, like a big group hug, and just
Yeah.
cause I can feel the weight and what people have expressed. But it would be nice to just kind of get out and just shake just to connect with people on that level. But as far as the material, it's different because it does allow me now because sometimes people want to hear about the show. So there are things about the show that are interesting that I don't think about because I'm looking at it from a work angle. So as I
Mm-hmm.
go out touring, it will be interesting. I think I'm gonna have a portion of the show where I will take what we've done this before, where I will just take questions from the audience
Oh, true.
and just because I know sometimes people just want to know, is the food real? Was that a real flat top? Just I know how this is. If I had a chance to, I watch a lot of interviews today. Sometimes just for the BTS, I just want to figure out how that car scene happened and what was the motives behind these different things. So I'm gonna try to give that to the audience on this tour, and just so that they can feel I can just answer those questions and just be very candid with them. Also, in the process of doing that, I'm finding material as I give these stories and find out what's what. So we both win from it.
For sure.
Love
I could
that.
definitely see you doing crowd work. Like it seems like you're
Yes.
tailor made for that, especially now that you've been on the show and people are gonna ask the wild questions. Feels like you can definitely build off of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
we got a couple more. We got a couple more, and then we'll definitely let you go,
All right.
bro. Did you see? Was there actually words on that letter that you gave to Juke?
Yeah, I didn't.
And Sasha don't want to give it to us, and now I gotta wonder whether I'm seeing AI on the net because I saw a letter and I'm like, this is too good to be true. I'm not sharing this. I think this is AI.
No, it was a real letter, and I wanted to write it, but I also wanted to write it with the pen that I want to write it with, and that's how shout out to Sean, our props master. You know, this show is so precise. All that stuff matters. Like I want the type of pen that I want to write with. They didn't have those back in the '90s, so he's like, "Yo, you can't use that
Right,
pen.
right.
The font's gonna be
The
different."
Bic. They got to give you the Bic.
Right. So they want to give the glass plastic pen with a. I was like, man, this don't look. I want it. I mean, not to my horn, but my penmanship is pretty decent from what I've been told.
Okay.
So I want to write it, but I would have messed around. It would look like the Declaration of Independence. They're like, we don't need that. We need this the South Side Jamaica Queens. We just need you to
Right.
write this like you got out of prison. So I think they wrote it in, but it was words. It were words written on that paper for sure.
That's dope.
And my next one is there was a lot of debate. People was pissed. People was pissed because you died. Your character died. First off, it had so many strong feelings. Mekai Curtis might have to wear a luchador mask around the city
For sure.
while he was shooting orchids, or wear a hoodie because people are very, very strong about that. Like it's cool when you get the normal people who will be like, "Yo, you killed my man," and whatever.
Right.
Some people are wild. Do you think, or were you disappointed that Marvin didn't get the funeral that Lulu did? Because I know there was a lot of talk like, damn, Marvin was just got in the wake. He was just in the home. Nobody came to see him. Or
Right.
It wasn't like a big thing.
It would have been interesting. One, it would have been interesting who decided to show up. But I think just how they did it was enough because now with that funeral, now we're talking about a whole other episode of.
Exactly.
It just would have been. I think it would have been overkill. I think, no pun intended. I think just how they did it. And even something as subtle as Jukebox putting the lollipop in Marvin's lapel, just something simple as that. I think the writers did such a good job of just not over dramatizing it. But I mean, if you think about it, they kind of already did that with the shots. There was also Spike Lee. Spike Lee, he'll double down on the shot. But we like that. So anyway, I think that was enough how it did it. And even though we didn't get the service for Marvin, what a writer did tell me what made it dope was that even though we didn't see Marvin, we felt Marvin throughout that last episode. So every conversation was brought around to Marvin. So Marvin was even still there, and I think that was a way that we kept Marvin in our memory, was just the fact that he was in all the conversations. So I think how they did it was, I was cool with that. I'm like, because also again, I don't know who would have shown up. I don't know. I don't know what
Nobody
that
left. Y'all killed everybody.
Got Flossie.
Right.
Flossie.
Right. I don't know. And then all the people that probably cared, the therapist, Gerald from therapy class, the white dude, and his sister.
Right. Everybody good. Amber, maybe.
I don't know. I don't know who even been there. The lady he worked at the bar with, maybe she would have pulled up, but I think and then also it would have been. Also, I think it would have been probably doing too much because it's like, how you gonna make this any different from the first funeral scene we saw? It would have been just too much.
That's true.
So anyway, I think just how they did it was cool, man.
And finally, for you, if London was at Marvin's funeral, what would he say about him? Because we talked about words that we say and wonder when we go, what are people gonna say about us? What would you say about Marvin if you knew him like that?
You know what? I think I would have been saying everything I've been saying throughout these interviews, which was the core of Marvin. Marvin was thorough. He's he's a funny guy. He's a funny guy. He's a kind guy. He's no slouch though. So you wasn't gonna disrespect him. But if you didn't disrespect him, he wasn't gonna disrespect you. And again, I know people like that. There's some people in this world that will unalive you if you skim off the top. Of whatever the dealings is. But on a one-on-one, when you think, okay, for example, sometimes when you think about some of them gangsters like a Bumpy Johnson or somebody, these guys were some serious dudes, but at the same time, they're giving out turkeys during the holidays. There is a part, again, just these layers. So I would have gone into the layers of Marvin and what made him so incredible, and that sort of thing. I would have talked about, you know, whether you liked them or not, you respected them, and that's more than we can say about most people. The people, there are all kind of people be doing things, but we don't respect how they move. They ain't got no principles. They just, they got no principles. Marvin had a lot of principles, and he was a work in progress. So just kind things like that, really.
I love that, man. I love that. London, please tell the people, first of all, thank you so much for being so generous with your time. I truly appreciate it. We clear the runway for you, and you always deliver. Please tell the people where they can find you.
I'm at Real London Brown, at Real London Brown. I'm also part of the Black College Expo, NCRF, National College Resources Foundation. So if you hear about the Black College Expo, I will. If I'm not working or something, I'm a part of that. I'm an ambassador for that. So pull up, have your kids come out, get them into college. I do a seminar there, so you guys can be a part of that. Also, I'm at Killing It Pod. This is a podcast with me, Justin Hires, and BT Kingsley. And if you guys are interested in stories like mine or like this, we do the same thing on our podcast, which we try to figure out how people got to where they got to. How did you return from the no's, the rejections, the missed auditions? How did you gain 1 million followers? How did you build your platform? How did you sell out the tour? So it's Killing It Pod, KILLINIT POD, with Justin Hires and BT Kingsley. And yeah, I'll be touring. So I'll be in your city. We got Detroit, San Diego, New York, Philadelphia, Atlanta. We got a few cities on the board. So please come out, man. Sell out, bring your friends and family, and let's have a good time.
Love it, bro. Love it.
We are so thankful, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
1,000%. Hold on for 1 second. I'm gonna sign off, but just hold on real quick. We're gonna talk to you after the show. All right.
Sure.
So, London Brown, Uncle Marvin, this was a perfect way to put a bow on an incredible series, Raising Kanan. Thank you so much for coming out and joining us. Live chat, y'all were great as always. Thank you for all the questions. Replay gang, we see you, we love you, appreciate you. Get in the comments, and we will too. Krissy, where can the people find you?
You can find me everywhere at Krissy B. Davis. You know what we do on my page. We have a good time. What about you, Jeff?
Jeff J Says, all social media, Jeff J Says on YouTube, and of course here at Power After Hours, your favorite Power podcast. If you love what you hear, like this video, subscribe, tell a friend and tell a friend. Tell a friend they should have been here. I know y'all. This is the summer. I know it's definitely fuck that job season. I know y'all. I know y'all taking y'all summer Fridays and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays. Y'all should have been here, but catch the replay because we got some gems. We got some great insight into the character of Marvin, the show of power, and everything that goes into what I believe is one of the best shows that we've seen this year. So shout out to London. Shout out to y'all. Until next time, I told y'all whenever y'all friends at Stars want to put up Power Origins, we will be there. So just when they let us know, we will know, all right? So until then, and if we have any more special guests like this, you know to check out all the Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, all of the socials at Power After Hours, and we'll let you know more. Till next time, you know the vibes. We'll check you later.
Peace.
I want you to sing it with me. They say this is a vintage time. Yeah. I just come from the Palmer's Bar. White light, city light, I gotta make it. This is where it goes.